UN Spacey Wolf Squadron. This is your Wolf Commander Wolf 10. I'm your werewolf. Here we are talking about a certain type of topic that we've been hearing for quite some time when franchises tend to go to die, or movies are not well received, or TV shows are not well liked. This lame brain excuse that these writers and these interviewers and all these articles that they bring up, and we're talking about entertainment fatigue, and I mean by entertainment as in a universal term to use for these type of fatigues that they keep bringing up, either superhero fatigue, franchise fatigue, movie fatigue, horror fatigue, all this BS that they keep bringing up. I have with me my usual crew, but I'm going to rotate clockwise this time around. So sorry, Leia.
That's okay. You don't have to apologize.
He is the he is the man with good Wi-Fi in the basement. The schooner, the tuna, schooner tuna.
Coming at you live from a secret government facility buried deep underground, but has excellent Wi-Fi. This is Schooner Tuna. Hello.
He is the man, the myth, the legend with the FN, the 22525 number handle. He has traveled across seas of stars to get here for this type of topic. He is Trooper FN 2525.
Hey guys, it's awesome to be here. Trooper FN 2525. I am excited to go ahead and talk about franchise fatigue or lack thereof. Go ahead and start throwing some comments into the comment section. Hit the like, share, subscribe. You know the drill. Let's get started.
Do your due diligence to make sure that everybody knows that we are finally live. I know I'd like. Let me address that later after I address the lovely Lady of Valor. Excuse me for my impudence, Lady of Valor. I grovel at your feet in apologies. This is the lovely Lady of Valor, Leia plus size.
Hey, everybody. This is Leia Plus Size, your lovely Lady of Valor, and I am very happy to be with you again this week. And I'm looking forward to this topic and also having fun listening to everyone's different comments. So I hope we have some fun.
Now, again, let me bring. I didn't lost my train of thought after I did my groveling. let me welcome to the chat then, and possibly my memory will jot right back in. So we have Matt Nui as first. Hello, Matt Nui. We have Melissa Harrison Sons 3.0. Let me know if there's a 4.0 update coming along, Melissa. Hey guys. Brian Gilmartin says hi. The Maverick Hunter Saint. Hopefully he'll get his mic. Bruh. We've been going this series far too long without you, man. We need the Maverick Hunter Saint on this one too. We want to hear your thoughts, man. I don't care if you have to leave after that, man. Because you leave earlier than the Leia Valor herself before we shut down. But we need you here too, buddy. Come on, man. We need to hear some Maverick talk, some Mega Man talk. At least. Fiona Wolf is here with us in spirit. She said, I'll be here in spirit. Had to head out to work in about 5 minutes. Thank you for joining us and leaving a comment, Fiona. Thank you so much. Victoria Fagbile. We are still doing this show. Don't worry. We have not lost the momentum, Victoria. I am not about to quit on this show, regardless of whether life kicks me in my behind. Okay, I'm not stopping. It's just that the format of how I start has changed because I want to make sure everybody gets to get here beforehand. But I think I may have to start on the appropriate time so that everybody can catch this anyways. I might as well just have to fill everybody in once they pop in, right?
I'll be fine with that.
I'll be absolutely fine with that. I understand. So that will work with me.
Yeah,
okay.
They can catch it on the ring wind. It's all good.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam Proctor is here. He says, insert cricket noises here. That's my poor attempt at cricket sound, but okay. One of these days, I'm gonna invest in a soundboard. One of these days, I'm gonna be like Fan Man, putting the sounds.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna emulate Fan Man for a bit, but you know.
Cue the pouring coffee.
Mm-hmm. We also have Samuel Olaki here. He says, "Yo, hello, folks. I feel the fatigue. Guys, come on now. Don't buy into this. It's a myth. It's a myth. Come on, it's a myth. Even Melissa's in on it."
I think he means the fatigue and the excuse. I feel the fatigue in this excuse. This is an old excuse, and that's where you should get the cricket sound.
Yeah.
All right. He also even Matt Newey. I think Matt Newey's being serious about that one. But hey Eloise, good to see you. Good to see you as always. All right. So where do we even start here? Let's start by saying, ain't nobody tired of this stuff.
Well,
the only thing I'm actually going to say that I actually agree with on this franchise fatigue, I feel the fatigue of your franchise where you're taking this movie or this series. Well, that's what you're saying. We're not saying we're fatigued with the Terminator. We're not fatigued with superheroes.
I'll tell you what we're fatigued of, what we're tired of is you. Exactly. You are the ones making it tired.
It should be called woke fatigue. Well, that's what that is.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking with Trooper. I'm not tired of franchise fatigue. I'm tired of the politics fatigue. That is what's getting on me. All this political woke poison being infected into franchises. That is
the gimmick.
Yeah, that's the gimmick. That is what I am tired of. I have to be with Commander. I don't buy into this superhero fatigue, horror movie fatigue, action fatigue. No, there's no fatigue in that. But I think what people are tired of, the politics. That's the crap that they're fatigued
of. And I hate to disagree with Melissa. I'm not tired of reboots myself. I'm just saying stop making them beat for beat of the same original movie. like I'll give certain reboots this, or at least in the case of Tron Legacy, it's technically a reboot of the original film. It's just told through the eyes of Sam Flynn this time around. Like they go through just about the same beats as the first movie, but they've done it in such a way that it's not tired. Go ahead, Schooner. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I get what you're saying. It's an in-universe reboot. It's Tron. It's hitting the same beats as the original Tron, but it's kind of modernizing and introducing a new spin because there are key differences in this. Yes, I'm a nerd. I'm putting on my nerd hat.
Right.
They're on the grid, but it's
I didn't know that. Wow. It's a surprise.
They're on the grid, but it is Flynn's grid. And this is different from the normal regular grid.
It's an updated grid too.
Yeah, an updated grid that's cut off from any system that advanced in its own way. And no, the master control is not the villain this time. It is instead a Clue, a creation of Flynn. And I love it. And you're wondering where's Tron throughout this entire movie. Oh, turns out he was in plain sight the whole time.
Yep.
So while it hits the same beats as the original one, it's its own story.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like I tend to bring Tron Legacy up because a lot of people complain about The Force Awakens being beat for beat A New Hope, and I was like, yeah, you're right. Here's the thing. Here's another thing. I tend to point out Tron Legacy. It's only because Tron Legacy actually did do something interesting with this beat for beat retelling of the first movie, whereas Force Unleashed inserted its own rhetoric in its own way, whereas Flynn had to earn his way to being Kevin Flynn's successor.
Mm-hmm.
Our main character in Force Awakens.
Well, you have to also look at when these productions were more or less done. I mean, we're talking about 2010 in terms of, Tron Legacy, and then we're talking 2015. So, I mean, there was a vast difference in a 5-year difference. You got to remember CRT, as we know it now, wasn't really in full swing. I mean, it was pretty nascent, but literally within the span of, we'll say, 2 presidential terms, it kind of leapfrogged. So, but
I even say I liked Mad Max Fury Road, even though Mad Max hadn't had a sequel in how many years?
Oh,
it was like decades.
Decades.
That's crazy how George Miller came back to do a Mad Max sequel and did it great.
Well, not only that too, he did it in a very non-traditional sense. The whole movie was basically storyboarded. There was barely a script. It was mostly just I guess it's just that's how you got to make movies, because that's what movies is. It's about the image of the story. It's about the what's the word? The showing, not telling. It's more about, like, if there wasn't sound effects, it would almost fit like a silent movie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was always
Put it in black and
propaganda
white,
in
it still
film.
fits.
Like there was always propaganda in film. I mean,
Oh,
if you look at if you look at some of those early, Disney animations, I mean, you had animations where, Donald Duck is like parachuting and, lands in the middle of wherever, and now he's fighting Yahtzees. So, I mean, everyone tends to forget that,
Mm-hmm.
media has always been a vehicle to push a consensus, or to push the public opinion on certain issues when they want a certain outcome. The problem
Right.
being now that since we're in 2021, from 2015 to 2021, it's a big difference. And that's 6 years,
It's done by
and
people who don't
now we're
understand
in
how that
full swing.
works.
Now it's in full swing. So if you look at 2010, Tron Legacy, and say look at 2020, gosh, I can't think of a film that was so ripe on arrival. I'm trying to think of, and the reason I can't think of any films in 2020 is because we also had the coup. So I would say a
Mm-hmm.
movie that was ripe on arrival would have been, gosh, I can't really think. I really can't
And
think.
It had to
also,
be
I don't
and
somewhere
think we had
around
also,
any real
March.
a lot of them just
releases.
weren't very
Like we
good.
didn't
That's
have
why
any
we
real
can't
movie
remember.
releases.
And they weren't very good.
Well,
Yeah.
that too, the theaters were closed, so we didn't really get a whole lot. We got a big postponement on Wonder Woman 84, which we know the studio interfered with after it had wrapped production, so they ended up having to do some reshoots, and that's why Wonder Woman 84 literally feels like two separate films. And
Yes.
subsequently Black Widow got pushed back. We're supposed to see it sometime this year, unless they decide to push it back again. But you know what?
Nothing in those trailers tell me anything about that movie at all. You can show me all the whole movie in one trailer if you want to. With any shot with Crossbones or Natasha's sister, you are still not telling me anything about that movie. Like
look at
a
how,
lot of things that they've been saying is so vague. I'm like, I don't know anything about what's going on with this movie.
Oh,
I
look
don't
at
even know.
how
summed up
Captain
perfectly.
Lemon
It
was
was summed up.
shoehorned in.
It was
Yes, that's
was
exactly.
it was summed up immediately when the writer of Black Widow said never read a comic book, and
Yeah.
I'm like, and just
Uh, yeah, that reminds me of similar comments coming out of the WandaVision camp. Like,
And
I never read
Falcon
one. So
and Falcon with us, a special guest star. I'm sorry, I'm a white man soldier. The director, all the writers said they
Yeah.
never read the comics, and that they and make me so mad. And they said they don't know what a hero is.
I
So
find
that's
it
what
funny that they
garbage.
bring that up because past movies with superheroes in it have also had directors that had nothing that had not read the comics either,
mhm.
Yes, but
and
one. Go ahead.
most of them have varying successes too. Even then, like when you have movies like Ghost Rider, right?
Yeah.
You know, the director of the first Ghost Rider come out. I never read a comic book that had Ghost Rider in it. You know, but it's still like Ghost Rider in the end, even though it's completely off base to how Ghost Rider operates majority of its run, right? Like the
Mhm.
whole the whole uh sorry, I'm losing my train of thought there.
But
Or
at least it had integrity. I mean, it was trying to capture what Ghost Rider was. Did it do a good
thank you.
job? Debatable, but it was. It's like, okay, I have a vague familiarity of Ghost Rider. Let's grab a story arc and see if we can
Oh,
adapt it.
I was going to bring this up. They don't call the devil Mephisto, but they call him Mephistopheles because that's basically the devil's name, Mephistopheles. Even though they changed, even though they call him Mephisto in the comics. So that's what I'm saying. Like they have an understanding of they have a clear understanding of what does Ghost Rider fight on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Hell,
Mhm.
basically, he fights hell or some form of it. He fights demons or some form of demons. He fights the devil or Marvel's version of the devil. or some versions of the devil that they have multiples in many character stories, like Mephistopheles or who else is in the body of the devil?
Well, Darkheart is the son of the devil.
That was Blackheart.
Or yeah, Blackheart. Sorry.
Yeah, he's him. There's another one though. Let's go with Spawn for now. Malbolgia.
Yep.
Malbolgia being one. They got bumped. Well, here's the thing though. In the case of Spawn, Todd McFarlane was a comic book writer anyways. So that movie had an advantage. And I do believe that it wasn't him that directed. Did he direct it?
No, I think he was brought on though.
I'm aware of.
But I don't know what happened, but a lot of people.
I think he was the ringleader, but somebody else directed it.
Yeah.
Just like he was the ringleader of his of the TV series, the HBO series. I mean,
the real Spawn, in my opinion.
Yeah, where he's standing around talking and whining, which is true to the comics. Don't mean to poke fun at him, but that's basically all. Like, despite the action that he does in the comics, that's basically what he does. It's just mope and whine.
Well, because and it makes sense in the context of the series. He's more of a reactionary character.
Mm-hmm.
See, I was going back to, if I may, I like to go back to the Black Widow point. Black Widow, to me, is too little, too late. One, first of all, the character is dead, so you've killed that momentum. And two, Black Widow should have been released when we were riding the wave of Captain America: Winter Soldier. But I also think they're putting Black Widow out now because they're trying to erase
representation.
Yes.
That too, but continue what you're saying, Leia.
Yeah.
Sorry, Trooper.
And also Disney, they're trying to erase their guilt of not releasing this before Wonder Woman. When Wonder Woman turned out to be, because at the time there was a different, fraction that was heading up Disney, Marvel, whatever, a promoter or something, when they did not greenlit Black Widow during that in between period of the Captain America Winter Soldier and before Civil War, or even between Guardians of the Galaxy, Warner Brothers released Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was a smash hit, so they're trying to erase this guilt of not releasing Black Widow when they should have had. But also, they scrapped Black Widow so they could push their little Captain Marvel film, thinking that Captain Marvel was going to do about the same or better than Wonder Woman, but it did just the opposite. So this release of Wonder Woman, I have to be honest.
Yeah, the only reason why Captain Marvel got as good as it did was because we had just gotten off of Endgame and it was riding on the Marvel success. But now in a long-term run, everybody's seeing, this was a mistake.
Well, yes, exactly. It was, and I'm sorry, Trevor, then I'll get right to it. Yeah, exactly. It was the only reason
Trooper, go ahead after Leia.
The only reason it was successful was because, as I agree with you, Spoonie, it's where they put her. They put her between Endgame and Infinity War that had this humongous cliffhanger, and everybody in normies thought they had to see this film to understand what was going on in Endgame, and then they realized they were duped.
They were totally duped. With Ant-Man and the Wasp, however...
Hang on, Schooner. Let Trooper get
No. Let him finish his comment.
Okay, go ahead.
And the Wasp, it made perfect sense because it shows where Ant-Man was and explained his absence in Infinity War and how he was going to be plot relevant in Endgame. So, but with Captain Marvel, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It just shows, I'm here to just save Tony Stark, and then I'm going to just disappear for like half the movie. And then I'm going to show up for that very gratuitous, that gratuitous scene where we're going to virtue signal ourselves all the way.
Oh, hey, Al.
But
sorry, guys.
That's all that she was. She just comes in, solves the problem. That's it. She's basically Deus Ex Machina personified.
Deus Ex Machina personified, you say? Yeah. Trooper, you want to say something, right?
Well, what I was going to say, there's an argument to be made for what was really going on. I mean, granted, yeah, it was a way to go ahead and eject critical race theory into all of this. I think what everyone tends to be very myopic about, because they don't think in terms of dollars, is that, but at this point, like uh, in terms of subsequent films and stuff like that, I mean, they pretty much they figured out more or less how to make a $1 billion film. Um, and when we talk about Captain Marvel, we have to talk about Natasha, and we have to talk about Wanda, because and I've said it
Better
before.
character. Better character.
I've said it before, in that Elizabeth Olsen was approached to do a solo film, to possibly be a female tentpole. She didn't think that whether her performance and or her character could do something like that, so she kind of shied away from it. In terms of Scarlett Johansson, I think the audience was already anticipating it, but rather than, I mean, look at how much money they were spending in making these films. So I think the easiest cop out was to go ahead and just throw in a little bit of the critical race theory, because I mean that's what the studios are doing now. That's what we're pushing. I mean, subsequently, if we're looking at the timeline of the MCU, that's its first injection, aside from little things here and there with, some films like Far From Home,
Sure, Aquafan has a small lecture about how Asian women
Homecoming,
are treated in Shang-Chi.
that kind of thing. Well, I don't honestly think I'm going to see Shang-Chi. So, but
Neither
Me
have
neither.
I.
but
Neither
here's
me
the
neither.
thing. Here's the thing. As far as Captain Marvel,
Not even G.I. Joe
the
Shang-Chi.
budget itself was estimated to be 160 million, which is actually very low compared to other films that we'll talk about. Now, whether they fudged the numbers or not, I tend to be on the side of, yes, they did misreport a lot of their numbers, because in the merchandising that actually subsequently did come out, whatever of it didn't sell. A lot of it just kind of sat there, just from observation. A lot of the Captain Marvel merchandise just sat there till
Oh,
it went on clearance. Um, you know, with Wonder Woman, it was a little bit different in terms of, granted, I hate feminist propaganda. I really do. I think it's the most toxic thing. But that's for another stream.
Bring it up, man.
But I
Bring
mean,
it up.
you had what you had with Wonder Woman is you had young women, little girls, mothers and daughters, more or less being shown in the media as, hey, we're having a Wonder Woman night. We're all going to go see Wonder Woman. It's a female empowerment night. Okay, fine, whatever. Go do whatever. Make sure ovaries sizzle, whatever. But my whole point being is that, granted, yeah, I could see the argument of, the normal casual viewer being led to believe that you had to see this film, even though from everything that was being reported on in terms of the movie and in terms
What
of like the
law
movie
is there to
critics,
say I have to see it?
well, no, you also had movie critics pretty much saying there's no reason to see it. What we do know is little. There are some leaks. It doesn't look very good. Me personally, as far as Captain Marvel, it was one of those situations where I didn't end up paying. Someone else was like, "Oh, I got 2 tickets." I'm like, "I guess." It's like, if you want to go see that trash,
We
I'll go
saw
see
it
it.
out of curiosity, my wife and me. I wasn't there to see where she fit in the MCU as a whole, because it's already too late to really try to put her in what's already been established. What I would like to see is how is her beginning in the same vein as Ant-Man. Like, Ant-Man was introduced late into the game, right? But what they did with Ant-Man was the fact that they established that Hank Pym was a thing. His time is over now. Scott Lang is the one that's going to be leading as Ant-Man.
But
That's how.
again,
That's how.
this is a separate studio. We can't mix those two
True.
up. When we talk
True.
about Disney and we talk about Sony, they're in this weird little quasi bromance where we automatically think that all this stuff ties in together, when in reality they're separate productions. They give the appearance.
So bromance, or is it just on the surface they're acting as friends when behind closed doors they're trying to one up each other?
Well, here's
I'm
the
gonna
thing.
pump
Here's
the
the
brakes
thing.
real quick, guys. I'm gonna pump
Disney owns the merchandising, so
brakes
that's why
real
you didn't
quick,
see. Yeah.
because Victoria had asked a question about Snake Eyes,
Yeah,
and I
we'll
want
get
to address that real quick. Um, So she asked, "Have you seen Shang-Chi, G.I. Joe's origin?" Because that's why I'm calling it right now, Victoria. It's basically just
That's
G.I. Joe
basic.
emulating. They've already made a point before they launched this trailer that they were going to make Snake Eyes an Asian because Asian representation. No,
Did you
whenever
guys
when I
even
saw,
read the comic book?
well, here's the thing: when I saw that trailer and I saw Snake Eyes without his mask on, I'm thinking like, oh, that's Storm Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Every time
Well,
every time he popped up, oh, that's Storm Shadow.
I'll tell
Every
you what, like the Hasbro Cinematic Universe is dead on arrival. It's like they're. I mean, if that is their, if that is where they were originally looking to go, I mean, putting something like this out or a tepid type movie that's really not going to bring anyone in other than true diehard fans, which at this point they're in their 50s, if anything, late 40s, early 50s. You know, it's like that's a very small group. It's like that's not going to bring in ticket numbers. So.
I have no intention of seeing it because once I saw that, no offense to anybody, he was Asian, that's not true to who the character is, and I can already
Yep.
see that's pandering. So I'm not going to pay money for that. Uh, Myself, I can't speak for anybody else, but there are going to be people out there that are going to buy into that trailer and thought, oh, that's so cool, that's going to rock. Yeah, it's not the Snake Eyes we grew up with, but it's still gonna rock, and I'm like, I've had enough of that. So that's a no for me. I mean, GI Joe should be treated like Steve Rogers. He's a national. He's a hero. So not in the sense of superhero, but a decent story and the world that encapsulate him. But why are they not having a GI Joe movie? Is this going to lead to something, or is this just a that trend of standalone films for certain characters that
they
fit a
put the label
demographic?
GI Joe Origins, so obviously it's an
Uh-huh.
origin story. They're
Yeah.
going back to that format, but
But it
instead of
still takes place within the Channing. Apparently, from what I've heard, this is still the I can't believe I'm saying this, the Channing Tatum GI Joe.
Oh God, that's terrible.
so
Oh.
That's funny,
apparently
but
Kind of like Bumblebee.
Snake Eyes was Asian the whole time in this universe.
Boy, don't
When we
mock
have
me before
already,
you have.
mind you, we have already the retaliation have already established that Snake Eyes is white.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
and they bring up the point that the fact that Snake Eyes is a guaylo.
Mm-hmm.
For those who are not in the know, guaylo is a racial slur towards anybody who's a foreigner, specifically targeted at Americans.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what skin color, you can be white, you can be black. You're a guaylo to them. That's what I've heard.
Out
Mm-hmm. Right.
means outsider. In Japan, they, like you said, they called it a gaijin.
In
Yeah,
Japan, yeah, gaijin.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
type
So,
the names in.
But again, there's no reason under the sun for the waist swap except to me political. It's a political message and it's revenge. It's just this
mm-hmm.
going trend of taking away. We cannot have Caucasian male heroes. We have to get rid of them and swap in their place an ethnic character because you know we have to build people ethnicities need to be built up. They didn't vote the way we wanted to in 2016, so we're going to try to build them up so they'll go back to thinking like us. So that is
I actually like that comment.
that's
yeah,
pretty much
Al,
what
I
I was
just
saying
saw that.
yesterday. So
That's funny. Al is so true about that. He is so true about that, and that's the thing that they're doing right now. So to me, there is no reason under the sun to race swap any particular character. It seems to be focusing mostly on white male characters. I'm just going to say it. There's this hatred in Hollywood towards white males, and I don't even know. I don't even know why this movie is being made. I really don't know
Who is
why
it
it is.
for? Specifically,
Yeah.
the biggest
What are
question:
they?
who is this for? Because it ain't going to
Yeah.
appeal to China. It's
it's
never
it's
going to.
Mm-mm.
it's going to be for millennials because you do have a demographic of Zoomers that don't ascribe to a lot of the critical race theory, and if
Asian
anything,
American.
they're
That's all.
further to the
Asian
right
American.
than what I would consider a mainstream conservative. So
They have a
It
brilliant culture, all full of honor and dignity and support from my child to watch this so they can get an idea of what Asian culture. The movie ain't gonna tell you dick all about
if
what
anything,
Asian
I really
culture is
want to
gonna
go
be.
eat some Thai food now, but that's about it.
Oh, is that
But
Asian?
I mean,
Is that Asian?
but
Exactly.
I wouldn't
Is
know.
Thai
They
food
all look
Asian?
alike.
No, it's Thai
They
food.
all look alike. So
Well,
they're either
Oh,
really
you
light.
guys.
It's either really light or it's the TJ of Asia. So that's me being myopic in their view of what I would consider an Asian. So
You're right,
Mhm.
Trooper. This film is being made for the Twitter audience because studios feel the
it
Twitter
is.
mob is where
It is.
the money is at. Oh, it's people on Twitter that are going to see people. And they could
the
give,
loudest voice.
It's for the
yes,
twatterati, and here's the thing: they don't pay money to do anything. So it's like
right,
Exactly. That's
right.
exactly.
they're gonna torrent that
Do
schmeck.
not pay
So
to. They're like saying, "I want representation in this movie so much.
I
want."
hate when people say that. I'm like, if you need someone who looks like you on the screen, you have problems. You really
Mhm.
do have problems.
I'm gonna
I'm
I'm
like,
gonna
I
quote
don't need anybody to look like me. Like,
I'm gonna
I know
quote
what I
the
look like.
Almighty Lowly.
So
And it's I'm gonna quote the Almighty Lowly in his Last of Us 2 review. How about you get a fucking self-esteem?
Yes, I absolutely agree.
well,
Excuse me,
because
It,
everyone.
we don't necessarily when we talk about the education system, it's lacking in that now because we've gotten to the point where we've given so much of
Drive safe, Daniel.
raising individuals, via the nuclear household to
Former
the
Press
institution.
Geek.
So now the institution's like, well, we don't want to get any lawsuits because we said this. So now we're going to go ahead and do the kid glove stuff. But mind you, a lot of that stuff was already being talked about in the mid '90s. Like when we were kids, we had freaking people talking about white fragility. Robin DiAngelo. That was already being talked about. So I mean, we're just now seeing the manifestations. Like this group right here. Like we're
Oh my
just
God,
now seeing the
Cooper,
manifestations of it
you
in
just gave
mainstream.
me the other reason why they're basically diversifying all of these white roles.
Mm.
Do you think it's got something to do with white guilt?
They could call it that. I don't see it as white guilt. Like I'm like, I have nothing to be guilty about.
They call it
If
exactly. That's what they call it, and all this kind of stuff. But when I'm just thinking, it's like, all right, let's just like what Leia Plus Size says. Let's just appeal to the Twitter mob who doesn't buy our stuff but just yells at us all the
well,
time.
I would argue, if they're saying white fragility is a thing, I would argue that white guilt doesn't exist. It's not a thing. It's a manufactured type of guilt, but it's manufactured in of the sense that you have nothing to argue or convey, or you don't have anything to contribute to a just normal decent conversation. So now you're trying to find a way to bring attention to yourself. It's
Well,
I
that's
mean
another
this
thing too. That's another thing too, Trooper. It's like, okay, fine, if you want to change it for better representation, fine. But they're
Yeah.
also changing the message of these characters. I mean, is Snake Eyes in this story going to represent how he became part of G.I. Joe? I mean, G.I. Joe is the code name for a special ops team. They fight like Wolf 10 Media was saying behind the scenes. It was they were fighting for truth, justice, the American way, because they had to fight against Cobra.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, we're not seeing any character development at all. And I mean, this goes as far back as 2015. Like, I mean, we could argue that it goes back even further, but in context of the people that are in the chat and the people that are in this stream, in a small window, there is a big difference looking at 2015. And I would argue, well, I'll get to that. I'll get to that as far as when franchise fatigue started, because it kind of correlates. It's all it's a Gordian knot. It's all tied in together. It's one big fracking mess. But I mean, in terms of like, let's go back to Star Wars for a second. Rey as a character did not evolve in any way, shape, or form in any of those films. She remains a consistent character in terms of you don't know anything about her. So I mean, it's the same thing with Captain Marvel. I want to say we knew more about Wanda because of the subsequent films for the few appearances she had. We barely get a glimpse into possibly some character development in WandaVision. I mean, that's argumentative and also debatable. But in terms of these characters, like, say, Snake Eyes, Shang-Chi, they're going to go from point A to point B, and they're not going to go through any type of character struggle, or they're not going to have any hero's journey at all. Because, again, that echoes a mainstream argument that,
And
to
that's the real
do
tragedy.
characters a certain way is to disregard the minority who needs these characters that subsequently don't buy any of the merchandise. So, but I was going to say one thing before I forget. I wrote it down. But as far as Black Widow goes, it's like we're not going to see her in the Soul Stone. We're just not.
Because I want to bring up something.
Yeah, we're just not going to see her. Like, as far as this film, like, as far as Captain Marvel was literally it was shoehorned in between Ant-Man and the Wasp and Endgame. And my argument has always been, if we're talking about franchise fatigue, Disney figured out very early on after the Star Wars acquisition, just the base formula that you need to make a $1 billion film, a generic $1 billion film, meaning it has a brand. You can say you like this, you go see the film, and then you go about your business. You don't do any fan fiction. You don't do any type of cosplay. In other words, the geek community, the nerd community, like in terms of these movie production companies, they don't want you. They just don't. Because that means that they actually have to do a job and adhere to a certain standard in terms of canon, in terms of values.
Oh, you mean to tell me I gotta work for this? I don't want to work for this. I want it to fall in my lap.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's easier for them to.
And that's what DC's been doing for the longest time too. I mean, Professor Geekley said this. I mean, they're just throwing everything, but they're throwing everything, including the kitchen sink. Sees what sticks, runs with it. There's no hope of longevity.
Well, they don't even have to do that anymore. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of this stuff. Woke doesn't take any effort, so it's you do it with the little.
It don't want to take any effort. It wants everything handed to them.
Well, let me put it to you this way:
that they basically say, "I don't like
hang on,
Skinner."
No. Skinner's got a point. Go ahead and make your point because it
okay.
dovetails.
What they say is, "I don't like this. Now sit back and change it for me."
Yeah,
they want you to do it.
And here's the thing. That translates to lower movie budgets, is what that translates to. You don't have to sit there and you don't have to actually go through and literally research a lot of the canon to make a good film.
A good movie that came out. Yeah, I mean, a good DC movie that came out was Joker, and I mean, like I've always said, it's a great movie, but not a good Joker movie. But it was They had effort put into it. There was something there.
They committed to it, basically.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, with the type of actor that they hired to do this, he expected a certain standard. So that was also taken into consideration, because you just don't hire Joaquin Phoenix and give him a trash film, or expect him not to do business with you again. So, and subsequently, a lot of these films can damage actors and actresses in the long run. So that's why you see certain actors and certain actresses kind of steer away from certain things. And when you do see something so toxic, like, say, again, either Brie Larson or Daisy Ridley, you don't want anything to do with it, because their image has since been so exaggerated to the point where you don't want anything to do with it. And yeah, they may actually believe half of the BS they believe. But in terms of these trash films, if it's a good film, you're going to go see the film anyway, regardless of what her personal beliefs are. And that goes with me and, Christian Bale and Tom Cruise. I don't care if they're garbage human beings. They're in good movies. They just are.
Whatever they do.
To bring it all back.
So long as they don't sacrifice animals to whatever God that they believe in. Goodness.
But to bring it back to the topic, but when it fails, they just call it, to save face, franchise fatigue, because then they don't have to admit that they done screwed up.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
okay, let's put it in context really quick. Leia, go ahead and make your point. I'm actually still pulling up a number here. So
Oh, I was going to go back to the point about Captain Marvel, and also just first of all, Brie Larson, who was
I
uncharismatic.
got something to say about Black Panther 2, mind you.
Sure,
Right.
no problem. Yeah, because there's some charismatic. She went in. She did not commit to the character. She went in. She said it herself that this was her protest movie. So she didn't care about the fans or about a translation. She only felt it was all about her, and also, Kevin Feige had to please his mistress.
Hey.
Yeah, had to please his mistress. So he put
Now
her
she's
in
out, so
there.
apparently he got something out of the deal.
He
And
got
he
a
don't
new
know.
pastrami sandwich at this point, so I don't know what
Yes,
his deal is.
I don't know what it is. True on that.
With
And he kept
peppers and
building her.
pickles,
Good.
salt and pepper.
That's
Oh,
right.
spice.
That's
He-
right.
Mhm.
Gotta
He's a
shoot.
man of
Gotta
taste.
shoot.
Remember, he's a man of taste.
Mhm.
So I respect him, but well, in the case of Brie, dude,
No, because he
I think
built
you need
this.
to. I think you need to see a psychiatrist.
Yeah, he just attached on that one, and he built her up as the greatest Avenger of all time. That's what he was selling this as.
When they tried
And-
to shoehorn in that she was actually technically the one who started the Avengers initiative, that was Captain America.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree, and I hated that because that spit on Captain America. They just that
You know
just
how
affected him by
you know
doing
how
that.
retcon that.
One
You
could
know
even
how
argue it was
retcon
Peggy
that?
Carter, depending on whether you consider a Capsicle being the founding member or Peggy Carter taking on the mantle of having to, literally pick up where Cap leaves off.
I have a way of how I fix that.
Capsicle? Why do you call him Capsicle? He was in the water for saving people.
Leia, he did that to get a rise out of you, and you gave it to him.
Well, I'm an RJD
Oh, well.
fan, so
It's okay, Commander. I went through with Age Boomer in that stream, so
Yeah.
I
Well,
have heard it all.
I'll call it more like this. For a time online, the ice bucket challenge, Captain America's got them all beat.
How would
maintain?
maintain Captain America as the first Avenger with her having the call sign Avenger? First of all, I'll replace Brie Larson and recast a new actress.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
And
there were so many names
This is a better movie.
being thrown out by culture critics.
That too, but what I was gonna do was I was gonna have a scene with new Brie Larson, or at least not Brie Larson, Captain
Not
Marvel.
Brie Larson.
I like
Brie
that. Not Brie Larson.
Yeah, not Brie Larson, Carol Danvers in her barrack, right? And in the background, there's a poster of Captain America.
Oh, that'd be beautiful.
Here's the thing, and here's how you know that they couldn't commit, because they didn't go the way of Monica Rambeau. That's how you know they couldn't commit to this. Like if you look at the budget numbers, and here's my thing, and this is why I was looking to pull this up. Captain Marvel more or less got around the same budget as Ant-Man and the Wasp did. And Ant-Man and the Wasp got 162 mil, if I remember right, something like that. But okay, so these are what we would consider skin and bones at this point in terms of the money they've been shelling out for these films.
Let me conclude what I was going to say about the Captain America poster.
Mm-hmm.
On the poster, it would have in maybe pen form, because I don't think Mark was invented around Captain America's time.
Mm-hmm.
But on it it says Avenger.
Oh.
And that's what inspired her to receive the call sign of Avenger, or at least.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go down the rabbit hole, yeah.
Or at least, at the very least, her original call sign was Warbird.
Ooh, that would have been good.
But like when she lost her first partner before she went to Monica Rambeau when Monica Rambeau got linked up with her. I'm making a short video in my mind, by the way. This is not
Mhm.
really a full video, but like she ran up with Monica Rambeau, and Monica Rambeau's plane crashed,
Mm-hmm.
and they thought she was dead, but Carol herself took it upon herself to go look for a friend,
Mhm.
and she comes back to her command officer. Says, "Well, look at that, you Avenger."
Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that.
But I mean, they had already. I mean, at this point, they already
Yeah,
had Black
I could.
Panther. I
Um,
mean, to
a man can
go
dream.
full
A man can
throttle,
dream.
you know, to go full throttle would have been to go with Monica Rambeau. If you really wanted to, you know, again, it's all pandering. That's what I guess that's what I'm trying to get at.
But
It's
then again,
pandering to
I'm
an
the guy
audience
who
that
actually
doesn't
took
exist.
time. I'm actually the guy who took time to think on the fly. By the way, about this
Yeah,
idea, and I'm
but I
actually
mean,
and I'm
we
actually
already
adding on to
had,
it as I'm going along.
right,
And so
and you know,
far, you guys are actually, and from and again, when every time Captain Marvel, gets brought into a conversation, everybody's like, oh. But the moment I started bringing up bits and pieces of how she gets that call sign, right?
mhm.
Mhm.
You're like, huh.
Exactly. It went
Yeah.
from ah to ah.
So, in other words, the fans will look at that, right? And
Mhm.
Mhm.
and let's say we keep that one scene with Nick Fury, right, where he
Mhm.
looks at the call sign Avenger. Cat, look, Carol Danvers may have inspired the name, but she was inspired by the original Avenger.
Exactly.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Coming from the comic book stuff, like the moment Captain Marvel got thrown out, I'm like, man, why are we back in 2015? Because for me, it was all that Secret Wars stuff. I was like, man, this is not gonna go well. I'm like, in thinking about it, that's probably why I already had a distaste for the film. Like, I wasn't really paying attention to any of the paid promotions at this point. I'm like, I had just gone through having to deal with She-Thor, and I had just gone through having to deal with having to deal,
Ugly trans bodybuilder Hulk,
uh,
She-Hulk.
Yes.
yeah, and then I had to
Uh,
deal with freaking Riri Williams. You know,
oh
if we're going to
Lord.
talk about
Ghetto,
cultural appropriation and
ghetto
at its best,
fabulous Iron Man.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, she wants to be called Iron Man. Last time I checked, I think she wanted to be Iron Man, not Iron Woman.
right,
Mhm.
I would have gone with Iron Maiden just to hat tip to the band. Like, I would have gone with that. That would have
I
been
Mhm.
would.
legit. That would have
I
been
would.
legit. And if you do like a whole bunch
And
of different punk art, yeah,
Ironheart is
dude,
such a.
that's gonna take off.
I'm gonna
So,
say this: Ironheart is such a disingenuous name to give a character because there ain't nothing in her that says anything about heart.
but here's the
Where's
thing:
the heart of the matter?
They
Where's
didn't
the
want.
heart?
is a non-binary call sign. That's why.
That's what I was
Oh,
about to
right.
say. They
I
didn't want to
forgot.
use no pronouns because saying
Nope.
woman is considered weak, but if we say heart, it's more empowering. Even though we can
Yeah.
all very clearly see there's a woman on screen, but no, can't do that. So,
Another thing that bugs me about all this is that it's very clear when they say these franchise fatigue, these woke SJWs creators, they don't want to do the archetype hero's journey. They're like, I don't want to put in the work. I don't want to put
right,
in the effort. I just want the title and the name.
Mhm.
exactly.
And so basically, you don't want to earn it. You just want it to be given to you because, oh, you complain the loudest. Is that really
Right.
the standard that we are setting for our children here? Just complain about it instead of putting forth the effort and the time
Mhm.
and the other actual real
Let me
blue.
read Sam Pronto's comment here, and I like it. He's missing a word, but I understand what he's saying. He said, if you guys can do better with these nicknames for these politically correct characters, these guys are slacking.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because we basically say, oh, we just got okay. I got the title, so let's just throw whatever we want in there, and then
Mhm.
that's it. And they're not even following a typical hero's journey. Captain Marvel didn't follow a traditional Marvel film path. That's another
Mm-mm.
thing I did not like it. I mean, by the end of the movie, I mean, if you want to have your little tidbits in there, fine, but you got to stick to the path that was working. Okay.
Well, she has
Uh,
no hero. He has no hero's journey. She just comes in
No,
stunning and brave and perfect. There's nothing for her to work on. She
I'm
just
gonna
comes in stunning and
hijack
brave and perfect.
I'm gonna hijack
Yeah.
the conversation real quick to because I told Victoria of what I was gonna say about T'Challa in the movies. Speaking of Black Panther, now that you guys are mentioning him,
Yeah, go ahead.
um, in one of Fan Man streams last week, I mentioned that's not to in his actual movie. By the way, his actual movie, that's not T'Challa. The T'Challa, as Daniel Herron has said, was in Civil War. The T'Challa that we saw in Black Panther was not T'Challa. That is Ryan Coogler's T'Challa. As
Oh,
in,
yes.
you're getting T'Challa in the lens of a black man who's never ever read a Black Panther comic. He only got the cliff notes of Black Panther.
telling me the Rousseau
I
brothers,
agree.
two white. You're telling me the Rousseau brothers, two white guys, did Black Panther better?
Yep,
Yep, I agree.
because they
I
read the comics. But let me if she's still here, let me explain why. Because I told her I'm not going to be able to get into words through text because of YouTube's limiting of the comments. But this is what I gleaned from T'Challa growing up, especially when it came down to different the many interpretations and adaptations of him, or at least in the case of Wakanda as a whole. Wakanda is not a series of tribes. That's where Ryan Coogler messed up at, for one. So technically that's where we get the wrong. That's where we get our trouble at with when it come down to Africa. Africa's not always tribes all over the place. It's sometimes nations too. They have nations there, bar none.
Hmm.
Um, so that's why I said my biggest flaw with Black Panther is that we got little of the tribes at all in that movie. And somebody literally told me, well, that's not the point. Oh, no, that is the point. That is the whole point. You do
Hmm.
not just set up a series of tribes, especially in the beginning of the movie, and you don't even go into full detail in in that movie about those tribes. And the only
Hmm.
thing we got from these tribes was the Malta tribe will not challenge today. The River tribe will not challenge today. The Rhino tribe will not challenge today. But the Rhino tribe seems to be on board with Killmonger's idea of global conquest. Yet you're telling me every tribe is on board with this? Not the Merchant tribe, not the Riba tribe, not even the Dookie tribe. None of them.
Now the
Well, I
merchant
mean, yeah,
tribe
I
would
mean
say,
that.
well, the merchant tribe would be saying, war is going to hurt us economically.
Yeah.
Well, I would say if you view black culture as a monolith, as Kugler does, then yes, they're all for it. But I think this is another conversation, tying back to what I was talking about yesterday. So, and that's a whole other thing in and of itself. But I mean, yeah, if you're
Yeah,
that myopic,
but yet, why was Black Panther so well received? Because it did follow a hero's path. It followed the traditional Marvel story.
well, yeah,
And
and in a sense, it kind of followed the hero's journey, but it sounded like a black film. It
Oh, it
it,
read like
it
a black
had black
film.
voices in it, so it kind of
It
looked and
read like a black
sounded
film,
black.
all right.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
That's not
so
that's not how I would have written it. For one,
Mhm.
Wakanda would not be a tribe based caste system the way how they approached it in the movie.
mhm,
In the comics itself, Wakanda is a nation.
mhm.
It's a nation rivaling that of Egypt, of ancient Egypt, to be
mhm,
exact. It is called the Nation of Wakanda. It is not called the Tribes of Wakanda. The Nation of Wakanda. And worst of all, now currently in the comics, they are now the Nation of Isla Wakanda.
Oh dear.
oh,
That, that, that's
I,
that's that's the behavior I'm reading from what RJ has been describing Wakanda, because I'm not finna be hurting my brain cells reading these damn comics. from
I'm
Ta-Nehisi
pretty
Coates
sure.
to whoever is writing Black Panther now. I'm not like he's. I'm like
So they're pushing Black Islamism now as opposed to Christianity.
I guess so because
Yeah, I think Coates is sharing in the writing, but I'm sorry, Wolf, but he is sharing in the writing. Or I think he wrote it before.
yeah,
He
he
had a
did read
run
before,
with
but I
it,
don't know if
and it
he's
didn't.
currently in it
Right,
now. Yeah,
but it didn't sell.
but
The
there was
magazine.
a book that RJ had reviewed. He does these little snippets on YouTube where he does like 5 second review, quote unquote 5 second reviews of comic books he just read, and in one of the one of a Shank Iron Fist an Iron Fist comic, Adora Milaje took control of the powers of the chi power of the Iron Fist somehow,
Mm.
and yet she's basically saying it's not yours, it's mine now, or something like that. I'm like, so from what I'm getting here is that apparently they're basically using Wakanda as a mouthpiece for at least like in some ways it's raise Islam in a way, or at least they're still pushing that whole Islamic focus, even though they're postulating about Asian focus or black focus or even Muslim focus and all that stuff. Mind you, this company is still ran by Sama Amanu, a Muslim, by the way. So that's where I'm getting my evidence there from. But that's what I'm saying. Like Wakanda has it seems to become the very militant nation of Islam as Malcolm X used to champion back in the days.
Mhm.
So Black Panther to them means the Black Panthers, the thugs of the black community, the
Activists.
yeah, quote unquote. I put that in air quotes, big air quotes, because I am strong. I'm a strong believer of always never agreeing with what the Black Panthers ever did was right. No matter who praised them, Ice Cube even. I'm like, bruh, I'm ready to have a debate with you, and you got way more money than me, and I love your music, but I'm ready to have a debate with you. And like all that I just listed, I don't even care. I'm going to tell you, they are not the type of black people you should be respecting right now. That's only because you respect them because you're a gangster and you think that what the Black Panthers was doing was gangster. They are not. They are not the fabled crusaders that you like to think they are.
Oh no!
And I don't want Black Panther to be compared to that. T'Challa, I mean. Now, speaking of T'Challa, now let's get into T'Challa now. T'Challa, I said this to Victoria Fagbao in Fan Man Streams. T'Challa is way more complex than what they made him out to be in that movie. They turned him literally into Simba in that movie. He's
I
basically
sometimes wonder if their only frame of reference in making that movie was Coming to America and The Lion King.
Pretty much.
Oh my goodness! You know what?
Yeah,
I had never equated the two.
He's essentially Simba. Apparently he doesn't move unless a woman tells him to.
Oh goodness!
He needs a sense like, motherfucker, aren't you the king?
I even thought this is what kind of bugged me a little bit about the Avengers, because originally in the comic books, Black Panther joined the Avengers because he was trying to assess if they were a threat to Wakanda. He was a spy.
And I'm getting to that. Thank you for bringing that, but I'm getting to that. T'Challa is the king of Wakanda, but he is more than just the king of Wakanda. The Black Panther title is basically the title of the guardian of Wakanda. He basically is the champion of his people more so than the king. So anything that could be a threat to Wakanda, he's out there first to, as you said, assess the situation, determine whether there's a threat. Which is, sorry, my wife's phone is ringing.
Samsung.
And it's a scam. Of course, it's a scam.
Of course, it is. That's
freaking bots. Robot Wars.
That's for another stream. I'm so tired of freaking advertiser calls. So.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna make that happen Yeah, actually that's let that be next Thursday's
Cell phone
stream.
fatigue. Cell phone fatigue.
Actually, sorry, Scooter, but that's gonna be next Thursday's topic. Yeah,
Right.
next Thursday. But Sam brother says that's an insult to Simba. No, I'm talking. I make the Simba analogy. I'm talking about the Simba that was in the Oasis, not the Simba as the king now.
Mhm.
Like here's the thing about oh wow, Victoria getting on me too.
I'm going to be a mighty king.
Work with me, guys. I'm getting there. Work with me.
He's getting there. We almost got it.
Here's another thing. It took Killmonger to insult T'Challa to get him on board to challenge him.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the moment Killmonger you know brings up the idea of challenge, T'Challa should be on board on it. No matter what, because he's the king. Even if he does have advisors on his side, a king still makes his own decisions. Now he will consult his advisors, yes, but at the end of the day, he is the leader of his nation. He makes the decisions after that. Now again, consultation is a thing that is something to be Sorry, I'm a little.
Well, I was going to say instead of watching Black Panther, from what I'll do, from now on, I'll insert Lion King into that narrative. I mean, I got all the actors I need. I got James Earl Jones, so
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But compared to how he was portrayed in Ultimate Avengers, the animation, yes, he was he was enraged for the path that was laid before him the moment his father had died in the beginning of that movie. But at that moment when he put on that mantle, he was on it. Basically, he was on it. Like the moment Captain America set foot on the land of Wakanda, foot to the face. Nope. Foot to the face from Black Panther right then and there because he perceived him as an intruder.
Take one step. He neutralizes the threat and then asks, "What are you doing here?"
Yep. There was no Adora Milaje. There was no Nakia. There was no Okoye at all. As I'm following Trooper here with his laughter because I'm actually pronouncing the way they pronounce it.
Right.
That's my thing, guys. I like to say the names right. I like to say the accents right.
Yeah, Ramon.
Forgive me.
Yeah, right.
Forgive me.
Hey,
but no. I still love that line, but damn it, Trooper.
I'm telling you, I'm just gonna watch The Lion King from now on, and I'll be good. So,
thank you, Dominic Powell. Yes, it's not immune from critique, and boy, when I said that I enjoyed freaking Aquaman way more than Black Panther, that room went ice.
Of course it did. Because everyone's a monolith. You gotta like a film because you're represented. I'm like, I don't think so.
And this is coming from a black man that said it too. By the way, I said I enjoyed Aquaman way more than Black Panther, and they asked me why. Because I saw more of Atlantis than I did of Wakanda. And what I meant by that was the fact that they brought the 7 kingdoms of the ocean, right? We got to see the fishermen. We got to see Dolph Lundgren's people. We got to see the trench. We got to see the crab people. Yes, late minute edition. Yes, they were talked about in the beginning. Yes, but we got to see them. In fact, we even got to see who am I missing? Orange people, right? And many more others, right? We don't see none of the River Tribe defend T'Challa. We don't even see the Merchant Tribe sending their armies. We don't see none of that either. We just get the Adora Milaje because bitch power. Okay. Okay. Those are that's the only people that's on board of opposing, Killmonger. Wait a minute. Hang on. The Adora Milaje is supposed to be loyal to the fucking king. Sorry, people, but this is what burns me. They're supposed to be loyal to the king, right? but apparently, as soon as they see T'Challa, you know, come up, I'm like, okay, okay, we're gonna follow the deposed king, right, and not
Right.
the new king. Okay, they don't follow the rules, do they?
Mm-mm. Well, that's the
But yeah.
beauty. That's the beauty of wokeism is you don't have to follow any rules. You just have to follow what you feel.
So Victoria, if you're still here, well, you're still here. I just saw you staring daggers at me. But that's what I mean by that's not T'Challa in Black Panther. T'Challa in Civil War, that's T'Challa. That is the T'Challa. The moment
Exactly.
the moment he sells things his own way, he didn't even need the Sokovia Accords. He's not even there. He's not even there with the Accords side.
Nope.
He's
What
there,
I
he's
love
there
more
for his own mission,
Right.
but he's gonna work
exactly.
with them for his own gain. Even with the even when being approached by Natasha, move or you shall be moved. As much as that is amusing to watch, stand aside, and she stands
Mhm.
aside. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's
Exactly.
like they had all these elements in the film that would have been fantastic had they implemented them in the way that would have been the most effective. Like, I mean, the Grace Jones reference to me was just fantastic. It was stellar,
Yeah.
but we didn't see anything past that. It was just literally just monikers of, okay, let's toss this in, let's toss that in.
It's like,
All right,
all right, Grace Jones.
yeah, yeah. Isn't she technically? I would think she's a Wakandan. Why don't we
Mm.
see Grace Jones playing another character while there's a Grace Jones reference made at the beginning of the film?
Why
Again, like
not any of
all
them have Grace Jones' haircut?
it's like again, the audience this film was made for was a little tepid because you already have a huge following of Marvel fans. You don't want to alienate the entire fan base because that's what's pumping in the money to make subsequently more films and do more D plus stuff and subsequently stuff we didn't know was coming down the road. But it's almost like okay, it's almost like what Captain Marvel did successfully, which was pander to a group that again doesn't do anything outside of the keyboard. But in with Black Panther, it was more or less of towing the line of ethnocentrism in the film with tossing in a backhanded a backhanded comment here and there to please a certain group, and then maybe a storyline that doesn't really line up with the comics. And had we actually seen what was in the comics, it would have made for subsequently more films about Wakanda. It could have been its own thing. I mean, okay, let's
You
go there.
you wanna
It
know
could
what
have
I'm
been its
really
own D
tired of
plus
though?
thing. So,
You know what I'm really tired of though?
mm,
And I'm actually echoing the same sentiments as other I have to say this non-black reviewers and not and of our non-black ilk. I really am
yeah,
getting tired of these little rap lyrics in these trailers, especially for the minority trailers.
yeah.
Have you
The platitudinous sound bites.
like it like the first time with Black Panther, the first teaser that was fine, okay, that was
Mhm.
fine, but then the second trailer come in, the revolution will not be televised. I'm like, oh no, Black Panther is not an urban black man.
He's an
He is an
undercover brother.
African. He would what would he know about
Right,
the civil rights
right.
movement? What would he know about the civil rights movement whatsoever? He ain't got nothing to do with us. So why are you putting it on? And then of course we get the movie and we get some rap music playing. I'm like, oh, this is what it's going to be.
I
I'm like,
kind of
Because
wish
Disney
they mentioned.
Disney thought that. Go ahead,
and
Go ahead.
Sweetie.
No,
Uh,
no, no. Go ahead, Lady of Valor.
Disney, well, it goes back to pandering. They probably thought black film, black cast, got to have rap music or the black audience won't come see it. So maybe that could be one. And number two, to go back to what you said earlier, what you have here again is Disney hiring directors. What you had
I'm
was
gonna
the
tell you one thing. I will set Kendrick Lamar for one trailer, and that was the Creed 2 trailer. I got. I got loyalty and royalty inside my DNA. I'm like, oh, that had me hyped. That had me hyped when I heard that song. I was like, oh, I'm definitely seeing it. Screw it. I
Well,
think Ryan Coogler should have stuck around with the Creed movies, but then again, I still don't. I didn't like the idea of Apollo Creed having an illegitimate son either, and I have a
And
rewrite
like
for
that.
that one too.
I didn't
okay,
like that.
well,
I
I
wish
mean,
it just could have just been his son, not an illegitimate. So why'd it have to be illegitimate? Why couldn't he just be the son of Apollo Creed?
Maybe because Ryan Coogler is an oops baby. I don't know. That's probably how you
Perhaps.
can relate.
well, here's the thing. You can see a stark contrast between the Black Panther production and the Luke Cage Netflix production. It's mind you, they both employ some forms of urbanism, but I mean, Luke Cage, I mean, he lives, he lives there right in the middle of it, and then you have Black Panther on the other hand, it just kind of hints to it, just kind of does little mini tropes, and it's like, okay, I get that wasn't for me. That's fine. Let's move on here in the story.
That's
But
another problem I have with this is that, these characters are supposed to be, they're not even doing this anymore. They're supposed to be universal.
oh yeah,
Everybody has the right to enjoy these characters.
like I don't mind a little flavor in characters to kind of make them different and have somewhat of a stark contrast, because I mean the problem that we have is that all these new characters that are, and I say new in terms of they get their own film and this is who we're being presented with. It's not that they're new to the audience in terms of like the movies, if you will, but they're all almost the same generic character. I mean, there's no difference between Ray and Captain Marvel, like I said
And
earlier, before in the
and
first
if I
hour.
recall too, going back to trailers, they did that for Snake Eyes.
Well, and here's the thing, I saw a
And
comment.
I'm sitting here asking, what the hell does rap music got to do with China or Japan? In the case of Snake Eyes, since ninjas are a Japanese thing, the man don't even look Japanese anyways.
It has nothing. I mean, I guess if you're trying to give it like an urban film, but I mean,
I can see if it was supposed to be an urban film, but like I said, they're you got a movie that you're trying to bring out,
right.
trying to bring it to the public. That's supposed to be quote unquote Asian representation, and I'm just like, so how's it Asian representation if you got rap music or at least hip hop music in the background?
To
One thing
me,
you gotta say, well, what kind of Asian representation are we doing? Is it Chinese, Japanese, Korean?
I
Is it
think it's a very bad westernized version of Chinese of Chinese propaganda that China has already banned. But
yeah, they rejected the Shang-Chi trailer, and they didn't like the Snake Eyes trailer. China didn't like it. They didn't like either one of them.
Apparently, it didn't have wushu in it.
Disney needs a pimp slap every now and then. But when I think of Asian representation, westernized Asian representation, I tend to think of Bruce Lee films. But I mean, Bruce Lee was involved in the production. Right. I tend to think of films like Kill Bill. But I mean, that's because again, you're having to put some thought into the production in the stunts, and you're also having to write a coherent story that makes sense within the context of the 2 hours that you're trying to tell a story. So I mean, the main character, Beatrix Kiddo, is not inherently Asian, but her journey takes her to different parts of Asia. So I mean, that's how I see it being representation.
But that's another thing too, and that goes back to my whole universal themes here, is that everybody, man or woman, can connect with Beatrix Kiddo.
Yeah.
Everybody, I mean, there has to be a universal theme here that everybody can enjoy, because if you are concentrating it in one particular group or area, you are isolating the masses, and guilting them into not seeing the movie is going to make the movie a critical failure. You have to find, it's the whole point is and I think Wolfton said this, why should I watch this movie? Boom, right then and there. That's the question these creators need to be asking themselves.
Yeah, and I kind of want to bring it back a little bit to Black representation. Okay, so now that I've mentioned, Kill Bill, again, westernized black representation to me is something like Jackie Brown, which, granted, yes, the protagonist is a black woman, but it's a universal film. I mean, it has appeal. So
Has Chris Tucker, Sam
yeah,
Jackson.
yeah. I
Robert De
mean,
Niro.
you could call it a
Did that
black
movie.
film, but I mean, and here's the funny part. I mean, they did, audience testing on some of these scenes, and while one group saw it as completely different, and I'm talking about the scene where Jackie Brown is coming out of detention, you know, you know, one audience saw it as being maybe like alluding to maybe a beginning of a relationship between Jackie and detective, and some in the another test audience saw it as everything is good, she's got all that behind her, it's just a nice summer night, just enjoying, going back to life. So it's really funny when we go from productions that are like that earlier in the 2000s and we look at 2021 and how everything's become a caricature in terms of, if we're going to do representation, we just need to check the boxes because we don't really need to put any effort into it, because if we do, that's somehow some form of supremacy.
Pam Grier is
Right?
Jackie Brown.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. Just like the opening montage where she's like walking through the airport, and at one point she's like just standing on the moving walkway. That to me was done very well.
I was a third brother of five, going around trying to survive. I never
I
said
love
everything I
that
done was all
because
right.
anybody can take that really any way they want to.
Yeah.
It's like, what does that scene say to me? See, for me in that scene, it's she's standing there and she's almost in melancholy, and everything is just passing her by.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. And what about that scene where she's in Hawthorne, California? I mean, just the lighting, just like, what's really funny is a lot of those locations were technically there. It's like,
What you gonna say,
that to
Leia?
me was a very
Hang on,
genuine. Okay,
Trooper.
go ahead.
Sorry, Trooper.
I was going to go back to the point that you make about you have to have universal themes. That is what that's the secret sauce that the SJWs aren't getting. You simply can't just toss out an ethnic character and expect that character to be loved and embraced and worshipped as a hero. You have to, what made I'll just use the MCU for an example, since I was once a fan of it. The success of the MCU was the fact that the characters were universal. Whoever was your favorite, whether it was Tony Stark or Steve Rogers, those characters, what we loved about them were who they were as human beings, who they were as men, that got them to where that it was. Steve Rogers is not Captain America because of the uniform he wears. He's Captain America because of who he is as a man, and how he carries himself. Whereas now you have, Black Falcon Captain America, and they think the reason that Black Falcon is a hero is because he's simply black. But that's not it. That's not. They're thinking, well, we're going to make him Captain America, and now Anthony Mackie said it himself. Well, now my sons have something to look up to. Well, they couldn't look up to you when you were Sam Wilson. What was wrong with you being the Falcon? Was not the Falcon not good enough? Was the Falcon not a good representation?
Let me add credence to that.
Too?
Let me add something to that too. See, a lot of what Black folks tend to think, especially those who are successful,
Mm-hmm.
they have this notion that they're playing second fiddle to any race, and I doubt Chris Tucker ever thought that same way when he was with Jackie Chan in the Rush Hour films. Now I did make that rewrite of Rush Hour 3. That's only, but that's not because he's a black man and he's being outshined by Jackie Chan. It's more of now we need to get away from Lee for a while and get into Tucker's thing, because he's mostly an observer throughout these whole movies. It's supposed to be about the buddy cop thing, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So let's get into Carter's side of things in the police beat. Like we finally get Jackie Chan to see his lifestyle through his beat. Now that he's not protecting the Constant's daughter or any of that, any for that matter. Like we got already 2 movies We should got that in the second movie, mind you. We should have gotten that in the second movie. Then the
I
third
agree.
movie, we that could have came to a head where both sides are after them, and or at least there's something going on in Chinatown and Blacktown. I'm gonna call it that. That's not really a town. There's no Black town, but there's warring gangs, warring gangs, the blacks, versus the triads, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something's going down,
Right.
something like that. We're finally merging the two in that
Yeah,
front.
I
But
agree 100%.
I digress on that one.
I
Going
see
back
that
to
movie.
going back to what Mackie said, it's that nagging belief that that these black celebrities keep pressing on about the fact that they're playing second fiddle to the famous white person or the famous Mexican person if they're in a buddy situation type of story, like the whole quote unquote black best friend stereotype, or the black
Hmm.
or the minority best friend to like
And
bruh.
that right there, that statement has already become so institutionalized.
Yeah, very, very institutionalized,
It is.
and they keep pushing that, and to hear Mackie say that, I'm like, bruh, you don't take a page from Chris Tucker at the fact that whenever time he worked with Jackie Chan, they were like the best of friends, especially when they're on stage, when they receive those awards or announce those
Yeah.
award nominations and stuff like that. You don't tell me that's what you get with Chris Evans now. Well, you probably don't now because Chris Evans is now have this white guilt, white savior complex now, apparently. But you ain't never got that from maybe Chris Hemsworth or Scarlett Johansson or even who's another white hero in Robert Downey Jr. You didn't get none of that. You feel like you're playing second fiddle. Why didn't you
Exactly.
if you were really really self conscious about that? Why didn't you go approach Feige and talked about having a Falcon movie or at least a Falcon side movie? It doesn't have to be a 2 hour film or a 1 hour film. It could be a short movie. It could be 9 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
90 minutes. I
One
mean,
of the, yeah, I mean, you can even give him a 10-episode, 5-episode TV series.
Exactly.
beforehand, or at
Yeah.
least
Yeah.
or at least how about this cameo in Agents of Shield like Jamie Kennedy did as Lady Sif?
Yeah.
You could have
Yeah.
done that if you feel.
I mean, you even have a great idea for a series right here. I mean, right when Nick Fury at the end of Winter Soldier says a lot of rats didn't go down with the ship, you could have Falcon and Fury going after the remains of Hydra.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So many things they could have done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I totally 100% agree. That's exactly it, Commander. There's so many things they could have done. And then what you said about this guilt of being a side, I never saw. Maybe some people did. I never saw Falcon as a sidekick, as he was his own man, and he was just a member of Cap's team, but he was not his sidekick. And I think when they developed,
exactly.
yeah,
Go ahead, Lady of Valor.
when they developed the show, The Falcon with special guest star Winter Soldier, they went in with that mentality because they were looking at Falcon. Oh, he's a sidekick, so we have to build him up. But he never ever was a sidekick. He was always his old man, and they could have had him help Bucky to get back to get him on that road to redemption. So when he does pick up the shield, as he does in the comics before Falcon, Falcon can help him get on that road of redemption, but that wouldn't make Falcon a second player. That would make him his own man because he counseled vets we saw in Winter Soldier. So he could have helped Bucky get the redemption that he was seeking or looking for without taking away Bucky's dignity and him still keep his. So that wouldn't have made him a sidekick. That was he was always his own man.
He offered his hand
like you
to.
said.
Sorry, let me cut into you.
Mhm.
He offered his hand to Steve whenever Steve was having
Exactly.
trouble adapting to the world again after leaving a war. Like
Right.
he connected through him. He connected to him on a military level, not a white man to black man level. Like, well, you ain't able. No. That's like, hey, I understand. I understand what that feels like. Like, hey, you try to sleep in your first bed for a long time after being, out in the out in the wars that you fought. Feels like a marshmallow, or these feels like a what do you call it? Uh,
Sleeping on a marshmallow or something. The
sleep, sleep,
bed is too soft. Yeah.
sleeping on a wool, like you falling into the void, doesn't it? You know what I'm saying? He connected through
He,
military life.
he even connects with them, like saying, "I know what it feels like." I mean, he didn't realize the story of Bucky, but he says, I've been right where you're at when I lost Riley. It's like I
Right.
couldn't do anything to save my friend. It's like I was there just to watch.
Hmm.
And what I love
Right.
about Winter Soldier is that he doesn't even ask to. Steve Rogers doesn't even ask him to get involved. He chooses to get involved. After
Hmm.
they tell him everything that's happened, he throws down his file, say, call it a resume. And he's like going, I can't ask you to get involved in this. And he's like going, I'm not asking to get involved in this. I am involved.
Hmm.
Right. And
Mhm.
then
He even bring. Go ahead.
even if he's not, like Scooney said, he's not clear whether Bucky is a good guy or a bad guy, but you know what? Cap believes in him. So if he believes in him, it must be something worth fighting for. So that's his own thinking. He's not pushed into it. He's using his own reason that, well, this guy must make some kind of sense with this. So I'm going to work with him to help
They,
him reach the goal he was looking for.
they still got a sense of work friendship too in Civil War, right? Like the fact
Right.
that
Yeah.
usually when people start firing at you, they usually fire at me too. That means it's like he's saying, "Hey, man, I was cool with our little buddy ship and whatnot, but I don't like the idea of bullets firing at me too. Now I still want like it's
Mhm.
not your fault, but I still want to live through this."
Right.
And
Like
that's another thing that he
he's basically being what just about every black man always voice like yeah, I want to live through this.
but that's
Mhm.
another thing too, is that they back to the whole universal themes and characters here. I mean, they did some guy online, I forget his name, did a comparison on why does Robert Downey Jr.'s why does Tony Stark, who's a big a-hole, why does everybody like this a-hole, but why does everybody hate Captain Marvel? And they actually took the time to show that, yeah, Tony Stark, he's a gambler, he's a womanizer, he's a drinker, and he's quote unquote scum. But the sequence where Pepper Potts goes down into his workshop, and that's the real Tony Stark that we see, and everybody is endeared to him. We don't
Hmm.
do that at all with Captain Marvel. There's no
Mm-mm.
moment of
Mm-mm.
endearing ourselves to Captain Marvel.
I think we're kind of like derailing the topic here for a
Yeah,
bit. Um,
but
we're,
that's
we're,
just no. It goes right back to what we're saying. It's like if it's not well received, oh, it's just franchise fatigue.
um, I'm gonna bring up the Jurassic World franchise.
Oh, here we
Shut
go.
up.
I'm
Not
just
kidding.
taking it
Not
all
kidding.
in.
I know you're taking on, but I like to bring up the Jurassic World franchise. A lot of people and this is the reason why I want to bring this up too, because they even mentioned that the fact that people didn't really like Fallen Kingdom that much. I actually enjoyed it. I'm actually all for the idea of a dino apocalypse. I don't know what y'all thinking about like that's new. That's something new.
It's trying something
I
different. I
may,
was fine with that.
mind you, mind you. I may
Hmm.
not like how they I may not like how they achieved it though. It was I will say how they achieved it was kind of dumb. Kind of dumb. But I'm like, yeah, let's do this, man. Let's try a dino apocalypse, shall we? And yeah,
Mhm.
people like, oh, that would have been over real quick. The military will copper. Like, you really think the military are going to copper bomb our own freaking country? Then again, who we have in power right now, I wouldn't be surprised now if they did copper bomb a state to take out a group of dinosaurs running around. But no, I'm like, let's explore that. Let's explore the idea of dinosaurs running rampant in U.S. soil and everywhere else because they weren't specific. Not all dinosaurs were specifically in the U.S. They went to Russia. They went to other European countries. They were auctioned off. Remember that they were sold off.
Mhm.
The majority that you saw were the ones that were the ones that did escape. And let's not forget, these dinosaurs will breed, and they're super dinosaurs, mind you. They're not the ancient animals back then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It,
follow
it-
you.
these are super animals. They're clones. So
Hmm.
let's not forget potentially that they could breed fast. Uh, one short movie, and I wish they would make some more short movies because that movie was impressive. Well, they're working on right now. There is Camp Cretaceous, which is that's basically the Jurassic World content that you're going to get for now until Dominion comes out, if and when Dominion comes out. I still haven't seen a damn trailer from these guys. Excuse me, but no, I'm saying that to clear my throat real quick because I've been talking a while and I'm catching drool in my mouth. Sorry for that image, guys, but yeah, that's basically what you're going to be dealing with for now with Camp Cretaceous, and I haven't seen Camp Cretaceous yet. I hear good things, but I'm a bit hesitant because it's centered around some kid protagonists.
Yeah, so isn't it supposed to be a TV show for kids? So like
Yeah,
Jurassic World for kids?
from what I'm saying, from what I'm hearing, it's actually pretty well handled. It's got 3 seasons currently, I believe. 3 seasons so far.
Mhm.
What's turned me off is really the animation somewhat. I'm a little hesitant to animation, but I might check it out one of these days. Might. That's the key word. But like I said, that was something new that I would like to see explored instead of just a zombie apocalypse, or in the case of the sci-fi Van Helsing series, vampire apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
Any
Yeah.
guys, hey, have any of you guys ever heard of that one?
Yeah, I've heard.
I've heard of it, but I heard of the Van Helsing TV show.
Mm-hmm.
I heard of it, but I never got into it. I got to be honest with you guys. I heard about it, seen a few episodes, and just never looked back on it.
I will
Yeah,
say this: it's a lot better than Walking Dead. Later seasons, I mean, later seasons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not well. Second season was terrible, but third season kind of picked up the momentum a bit. But we're not here to talk about The Walking Dead. You know what? Let's get into The Walking Dead briefly. Now that's a franchise. Well, that's a series that's run out of steam. A lot of people are really losing their patience with that show. And so far from the trailers of their 10th and final season, I'm like, who are these Pan Am shock troopers I'm looking at? That's what they look like they came from. They look like they came from Hunger Games. They all decked out in white armor and crash helmets and whatever with samurai swords.
I've also heard they're going to actually do TV movies.
No.
That's what I'm hearing. Yes, I know.
They're going to feature, and I believe they're going to feature Rick.
And Daryl and Carol. Something about Daryl and Carol.
They need to put their focus on Fear the Walking Dead. That's what they need to be putting their focus on. And I only saw 1 or 2 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead, and that's about it.
I was impressed.
Yeah, the only series from AMC and another series I want to pick up on too, but the only series I followed AMC from already from first to third season was Into the Badlands, and that was a good show. That right there that show has not lost its momentum whatsoever. But going back to Jurassic World, that's one franchise I would like for it to have a satisfying conclusion, because I'm pretty sure Dominion will probably be the last movie of the franchise. And let's just call it that. It's its own separate franchise. It's nothing like the original franchise that preceded it from Lost World to Jurassic Park 3. That is a franchise in its own way. I don't care what they say that it erases parts 1 and 2. Those movies still exist. Jurassic World is I would call it an alternate timeline where the park was successful and John Hammond died a happy man.
I'll agree to that.
I'll agree to it.
Whereas Jurassic Park did fail, mind you, it did fail, but they were able to rebuild it into Jurassic World, which is why we got the somehow we got the one garage with the derelict gas powered Jeeps.
Yeah. I like that idea. You can even say that it did fail and that InGen covered it up.
That too. Of course, funny enough, they had to build the damn thing on an active volcano.
Yeah.
And I get it. I'm actually getting it. I get why people don't like the Jurassic World series, because like as scientific as it likes to claim to be, it's pretty stupid. It's very dumb. When you really boil down to it,
Mhm.
the people who are running this park are very dumb.
Are
I
very
agree.
and very negligent.
Yeah, but
I
hey, at
agree.
least we got at least we got Wu back. And
Hmm.
I
Mhm.
guess look doing his best George Takei impression apparently. That's the same actor. Funny enough, that's the same actor, but like the way how he's going about, he's acting like an evil doctor an evil Sulu. It's like, would you stop, Wu?
Yeah.
You was not the same man I saw you in Jurassic Park. You were that mild mannered, hopeful, college looking student scientist that Dr. Grant talked to briefly about the
Hmm.
Raptors.
Well, see, the thing is with the Jurassic Park series, with that idea, how many movies can you really stretch it out? There's only
Yeah,
so far
that's
you can go with that franchise. And
And
Jurassic World,
Saturday
the one
Night
with
Live even made fun of that.
yes, they did. There's only so far you can go with it. Even though Wolf, I do love your idea that kind of would have made more sense than the movies that we got because the after I saw the second one, the third one I didn't go to the theater to see. I saw the third one on
I saw it
television.
twice in theaters.
Which one? The third one or the second one?
Third one, I never saw the second one in theaters, sadly.
Oh, no, the third one was
Only
the
because I
order.
theater Only because I theater hopped another theater because the theater I went to, I paid for the ticket by the way, but I went to
Mhm.
the theater that was like 10 minutes into the beginning,
Ouch.
and that was, mind you, that was my first time going to the being dropped off to the movies by myself at a young age, and I was not I had to navigate myself that way. I didn't even I didn't even look at the ticket number of what theaters I was supposed to go in. So I ended up winning there. I was like, it's like, huh, this actually started way early. Am I late? But then I realized like, oh, that was the wrong theater. Now I ended up theater hopping another theater just to catch the beginning, and I still watched the movie from beginning to end either way because to me the movie was good. Anyway, in my book, the movie was good. But
The Jurassic World, the one with Chris Pratt, I like the concept of it. The concept actually wasn't bad. I didn't like. I sort of like the idea that the Chris Pratt character could somehow eh, connect to the raptors, like you would talk to dolphins or something. The big problem was, what's her name? Her name slips my
Bryce
mind.
Dallas Howard.
I didn't care for her at all. I thought that was the big problem. Like, oh my God, she's getting on my nerves. Oh
In
my
my
God.
opinion,
Well, do not
she was
worry.
a
She's into it
caricature.
since then.
Um,
So
She was a caricature. She's
she
going to
doesn't like
lose it though. She's going.
anything. She doesn't like anything like what she did in films. Well, I think she's tied up in doing a third film, right?
What?
oh,
Yeah.
they are. If they are, I'll pass because I didn't want to see her again in that role.
Because I know there's supposed to be at least another film in the
Jurassic World.
new in let's call it
Oh,
let's call it the Jurassic World trilogy. But the last time I saw Bryce Dallas Howard is she was directing an episode for Mandalorian. That was the last I saw.
She did do that. Before then, she was in Black Mirror in a short
Hmm.
an episode of Black Mirror. She's a very I will give her this. She's a very committed woman and got good work ethic there. I will never forgive her for that "I'm sorry" video that she did with Julianne Moore and everybody else.
mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm. Oh
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I'm like, really? You're sorry for me? I didn't put the blame on you, girl. I didn't say anything about what you did wrong to me. I
And
don't know
then
what
they'll say, well, that video wasn't for you.
you're right. It wasn't for me.
I just never took to her as an actress. Maybe
It
directing
wasn't
it.
for me because I didn't. Go ahead, Leah. I didn't catch
I'm
that.
sorry. I just never took to her as an actress. I've seen the other films she's in. I just never really took to her. I'm sorry. Maybe this is just one of those things. Some actresses that connect with, and some you don't.
I will give her this respect. She's not
Hmm.
in it because of the name,
Right.
considering who her father is. She's not in there because of the name. She actually went out and did the lead work. She didn't get there solely by her name. So I'm proud of her. That I will give her the utmost, respect right there, because her, directing the episode of Mandalorian, I will give her that achievement too. I'll definitely give
Yeah.
her that achievement. Like especially Julie, especially uh Jodie Foster doing a Black Mirror episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dang, these women are yeah, go ahead. Get on it. Get on it. You look, Jodie Foster can't act anymore for a while. Like she's showing her age. Direct then. Go ahead. Produce. Same thing with Angie Jolie. When she directed Unbreakable. Unbroken. Sorry, not Unbreakable. Unbroken.
Right.
Go ahead. Do it. Do it.
If you have the talent, if the talent for it, I'm not saying don't do it.
Mm,
You want to make sure you have the good talent for it, because I was going to
right.
jump back to, and I'm going to jump back into this, and then we'll get back on top. Just wait this one point when you were talking about Ryan Coogler directing Black Panther. That was a good example of, once again, it could have been
You
ticket,
had the right person, or at least
but
you had the right skin color, but you didn't have the right talent.
right, because was the right skin color, but he didn't read the comics. Immediately, he should have been turned away from the door. It's okay to have a Black director, nothing against that, but is he the man for the job? And as we can clearly see, he was not, because he didn't read the comics. He didn't know the character. He just went on the fact, I'm doing a Black superhero movie, but he
So
did have
let
no idea
so
of
let
who
me
that
give
character
it
was or
my
who that meant.
interpretation of Africa, even though I've never been to Africa.
Exactly. He probably watched a couple of, maybe he sat and watched Roots and
Nature,
National
Nova.
Geographic and Nature, yeah, and thought, that's it right
Are you
there.
kidding me? He just watched Coming to America and The Lion King.
Yeah. That's what he did.
I mean,
Yeah.
look at Killmonger, how he act. I'm like, you are a Wakandan, full blooded. Even
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you have no connection to us whatsoever. Just like Africans who come to immigrate here have no connection to us, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with. You don't claim me as kin like we all do each other here. You never lived our ancestors' lives whatsoever. You guys were spared that. Then again, maybe you do can connect us in such a way because that shit still happens over in Africa. You know, there's still some slave castes in Africa. There's still some classes that are being treated like dirt in Africa, just the same way as China in the caste system there. There's still caste systems that are being looked down upon. You know, maybe you still connect with us, but maybe you have a different point of view on things than we do. So I'm like, how like Ryan Coogler, how would you know this is how Africans think and talk? Because they seem to be following your worldview of what Africa must be like.
I think Trooper put it best. It's a very westernized view of Africa.
I've been hearing that a lot lately, especially when it comes to Asians firing back on Raya, and one Asian I watched a video of. They brought the fact that it was very westernized, especially with the Mulan movie. Again, regardless of what you did, they still hate you for it because you westernized it. And again, the anime movie was done by a bunch of white guys. This movie was done by a white woman, and the Asians still hate you for it.
This is like a Nicholas.
Exactly.
This is a Nicolas Cage meme right here. Are you telling me that they tried to pander with Raya to the Asian community and they still got it wrong?
I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire.
I'm a vampire.
That's all
I'm
that
a vampire. I have never misspelled any word. A B C D E.
I remember that, but that's again why again Disney thinks it's doing something so great, and you know what they think when we talked about Wakanda, they're probably thinking, oh, that Black audience isn't gonna know, they won't notice, all they'll see is people that looks like them. That's
Well,
all they need to know, and that's how they sold it as. They won't
what
care
you're
if we want
seeing
the actor.
right now, through pop culture, or rather, let's call it the deconstruction of pop culture. Right now, well, what we knew pop culture to be was, let's say, a conflation of multiculturalism. So what you're seeing is 2021 pop culture deracinizing, if you will, people from that narrative of
Mhm.
of multiculturalism. So now you're having to, have a feature film that panders to one set, but you got to have another feature film that panders to another set, and then you got to add, a Native American, Captain America to pander to, your what is it, the biracial
I think
indigenous
that's an
people of
insult to.
color.
I
You know,
think that's an insult to Native American people that you would
oh, it's a
think that.
BIPOC, but it's done in such a
Mhm.
it's done in such a
Now,
tone
mind
deaf
you, there
way.
is a subset of Native Americans that do wave the American flag. So
Mhm.
let's not ignore them.
You know who
Well,
I honestly think they should have got to direct the Black Panther movie? It's going to cause some debate, but Neil Blomkamp, I believe, he directed
Oh,
District 9.
a South African. Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
why not?
from there.
Why not? I mean, if we have to do it a certain way, why not? Why not
Yeah.
actually choose talent over
He's a
virtue?
white man. Technically, he's South African. I don't care. He still has white skin, but he was born in Africa. So
Yeah,
that
Mhm.
technically
yeah.
Yeah.
means
I'm like, oh, yes, that's also a very stereotypical belief, too, that everybody in Africa is black. Go there, it's very diverse.
It's very
mhm,
diverse. I
it's a
mean,
Mhm.
melting pot.
we're talking about bits of history that we tend to kind of leave out. So,
Ooh, did
I
I just
mean,
win an award?
If it ain't Jesus, hang it up.
no, yeah, no,
This is an award.
it was my alarm, but yeah, here's when
No, I'm referencing a movie that had Cedric the Entertainer in it. And
mm.
I forgot the name of it, but like somebody's phone was going off. He said, "It ain't Jesus, hang it up."
Hold on, I gotta take it. It's Jesus, but yeah, we don't talk about Dutch expansion. We don't talk about German expansion. We don't talk about all this stuff. Pre World War II stuff, or even pre World War One in school. We don't. So easiest way to capture a whole generation, if you will, or a whole demographic is just to spoon feed what they need to and not need to know. So this is what black looks like. This is what Asian looks like. Mind you, these are all first world westernized concepts. So I mean, that's why you're getting films like Shang-Chi like being banned, because it doesn't necessarily have a pro-China message, but it looks like a Bruce Lee film. It might play like a Bruce Lee film, and Bruce Lee was not generally accepted in that area of the world. Why? Because he didn't toe the line that most of these actors have to toe to get their movies made. And
Right.
I think we talked a little bit about that with Mulan and with what's her face? I can't think of her name. I really have to learn to say her name. But you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Sparrow, Forbidden Kingdom.
The
I want
star
to say
of
Lai Yufei, if memory serves.
When in
But
doubt, IMDb.
oh, that's too much work.
And it's also just building
See,
off
I'm
of
already following the wokeism right there. It's too much work.
what
So
just building off of what Trooper's saying too. I mean, we're getting so spoon fed this education, and this is government mandated education.
yeah.
I mean,
It's
when
one of those.
the moment the government took control of education,
All right, Trooper. Scooter. Before you finish your statement, I'm gonna bring this up, bring it back to Snake Eyes real quick.
good idea.
Look, here's where I'm really gonna I'm probably gonna be shooting myself in the foot here. But here's one way I'll be willing to accept Snake Eyes as an Asian if they say that's the original bearer of the name Snake Eyes before we got the Snake Eyes that we knew
So
the
you're
I accept
saying
that.
you're saying you're willing to Captain Marvel the Snake Eyes, is what you're saying.
in a way. In a way,
Hey,
in
you
a
left
way.
yourself wide open. I had to pounce.
I
So,
did admit I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot here.
yeah.
I did admit that in my defense.
You did.
Foot to mouth there. I'm like yeah, I'm gonna admit that this is gonna be a foot to mouth situation here, but I'm saying like I'm showing some leniency here.
Yeah.
Like I said, if he was the original moniker of Snake Eyes, and Snake Eyes that we fall from Power Ranger Snake Eyes to got it right Snake Eyes was the one that took the mantle, and that's where his story began, because again, in the front to their clan, this
Mhm.
Guilo wearing the moniker of the previous Snake Eyes, right?
Well, look at how they did Cole Young, and that was a studio inserted character.
True.
Like, it's one of these things where there was a lost opportunity there to have a whole new character whatsoever, and have it in some way be tied to Johnny Cage. And I know Matt Flynn put up a post on MeWe about that, and what I had said was, what better way to do Double Dragon before there's a Double Dragon remake is to have more or less a Double Dragon storyline with Cole Young and Johnny Cage, because it's, we know these characters from the video game, but little else other than what were shown in the previous cartoons or comics or whatnot, and we don't explore any of that so far. So far, it's just been from the films that we have had on screen, just a bunch of stunts, a bunch of martial arts from very good athletic people that have been very cool to watch on screen, if anything.
Mhm.
But if we were going to have to do representation of a certain this or a certain that, why not insert a little bit of story? And I'm not even asking for a lot. I'm just asking for a very simple, very basic story that lets me follow the film. And at the very end, I'm like, okay, I'm willing to see the second one. But like I put on that MeWe post, I'm like, this just the first 7 minutes felt like a prequel to a prequel that hadn't even been made yet. So I mean, that's my argument.
Did they just erase her from the cast list? Because I don't see her.
For what movie?
Forbidden
She-
Kingdom.
She's on there as Sparrow, but like they flipped her name, so it's like
I don't see Sparrow listed. That's the problem.
she's probably further down the list. So
I went down further. Oh wait, hang on. Yeah, I went further down the list. I don't see no Sparrow. I know her name is Sparrow, but there she go.
yeah.
Wait. Golden Sparrow. Okay, I gotta look for Golden Sparrow.
Well, and that's
There we go.
another thing too.
Yeah,
is that when-
hang on. I found her.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Well, it's kind of like what happened with Ziyi Zhang. Like in some
Yeah.
films, like her last name and given name are flipped.
so it's Liu Yifei.
Yeah,
Um,
and then
she
in
also
the
goes by
Mulan
Crystal
film,
Liu.
in the Mulan film, it's like Americanized or flipped. I'm not sure because I didn't watch Mulan. Mulan had
No,
no interest in me.
I'm gonna take a look
Like,
at that.
Mu-
Still the
again,
same.
Mulan was what I would consider a girls' film, but here we are in
When I
2021
when I
where
heard that Mushu wasn't going to be in it, or I'll Make a Man Out of You, I'm like done.
Well, it wasn't gonna be a musical to begin with, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
I like the anime.
I'd rather rewatch Peach Dragon if I want to go for a live action version of an anime movie that doesn't have a musical
they
track
John
to it.
Boyega the Eddie Murphy voicing.
Pretty
So
much.
it's like, okay, so you're basically telling me that there's certain things that I can't do as a production company to get some of that really good China box office money. Like
That's another thing that bothers me about the diversity and the wokeism. It's like what the professor's saying about the EU of Star Wars. They're just cherry picking. I mean, they do like what we were talking about earlier. They don't fully commit. They just simply say cherry pick, throw it in there, give them a handful of stereotype characteristics. Oh, have the big woke moment and have every character in the movie say this character is awesome. There you go. Put a
yeah. Maybe the same
absolutely.
thing.
May I also add? sorry, may I also add the reason why Storm Shadow had beef with Snake Eyes is that the original Snake Eyes was his father. Let's go with
Mhm.
that. And only really real route to go with that is that if that Snake Eyes died at the end of the movie, sacrificed
That would
himself for the cause
actually that would
of the
actually
colony, but of the clan, but they're not going to do that. Of course, they're not going to do that because my Asian representation.
really another missed opportunity, not just for the movie, but and the character, but for the GI Joe franchise. Because Snake Eyes can be a title. He has a dojo, and he has a son, Storm Shadow. And Storm Shadow was raised on the belief that he was going to get the title of Snake Eyes. And
Mhm.
then along comes this adopted son who's just must kind of like how he views it, an intruder who's come into his home
Mhm.
and is taking what is rightfully his. So yeah, that's like right there. That's a great story.
But we know they're not going to do that. We
No,
all
No, it
know
makes
that.
they're chicken. They're chicken. They can't fully commit. They're scared and they don't want to. We don't want to upset the flow of money that's going to come in from this. I'm sorry, what money?
Yeah.
They don't want to set. They don't want to set. They don't want to They don't want to upset the people who are going to say, oh, this is just a white man taking an Asian title or Asian man's identity. That's what they always do anyways. I'm like young Snake Eyes did not take a man's title. He earned the title. He
that's
worked
right.
for it.
Yeah,
He didn't just kill somebody and just take the title like say maybe a in the case of Goki, who later becomes Okuma in excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry, let me burp. That came out
Oh
that came
goodness.
out too that came out too hard. That
Goodness.
came out too hard. But anyways,
Mm-mm.
put that on a list of Wolf 10 embarrassments. Hey, I try to be polite about it though. I try to be polite about it. But no, he wasn't like a Kuma that just simply took the master title, which is kind of I'm guessing that's basically like a cool thing in the Assassin Fist maybe, but he earned that title of Snake Eyes. But of course there will be people who like again, if you really want that to be a talking point, there you have it. That is the story, which is people don't see it that way. Other people don't see it that way. Maybe who are observers of Asian culture or other cultures outside may see it as, oh, he earned his way to the rank up to the title of Snake Eyes, whereas somebody will say, no, he took it. No, he earned it. No,
And
not in my eyes. He took it. That was my
exactly.
let that be, and again, let that be a talking point, which is did they earn it or did they win favor with the master? Maybe the master has a fascination of white people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you should look into that. But then again,
Then they'll cherry. That's another thing. They always cherry pick the argument by saying, "Look, there's the white character. Clearly, that this was some form of self gratification." And I'm just like, okay, you're taking that little part and not looking at the context of the entire story.
hmm
Right.
You're taking a little piece of it and then restructuring the entire argument to fit your little narrative when you're not looking at the full context of the story. They just
like what I
see
always say, straw manning. You there,
exactly.
straw man.
You see a white guy taking an Asian guy's title. It's no, look at the context of the story. An outsider who was adopted, not liked by this clan, but slow and doesn't demand respect. He instead works hard and he earns the respect of everybody. And the one whom he called brother, betrays him, kills their father. And if I recall correctly, doesn't he do something that makes Snake Eyes mute?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
slit his
yeah.
throat. Well, actually,
yeah,
Hmm.
that's what put him out of favor with his father. I think.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
he went too far. He cut Snake Eyes' vocal cords, or I think I think Snake Eyes cut his own tongue out.
It depends on who you're. Yeah, it depends on who's telling the story. But regardless, Storm Shadow is either directly or has a hand in how Snake Eyes becomes mute.
Yeah.
So you can even say in this story there was a sparring match and Storm Shadow was losing and decided to pull it either a cheap move or something like that and sliced Snake Eyes' throat. And the father reprimanded Storm Shadow, telling him that he would never inherit the title of Snake Eyes.
Now that's in the comics. That's in the story, right? I know there's a reason. I thought Snake Eyes wore the mask all the time because of he didn't speak for that very reason you just said. But was he disfigured? Was his face disfigured?
No, he was
No,
not.
he's a sexy man. No, he's a sexy man underneath that hat.
But he wears the mask and he wears the mask and everything because
Ninja.
Yeah, ninja.
Okay. Ninja hides his identity.
Mm-hmm.
So they feel that story just wasn't appropriate to tell. They had to give it to an Asian man on the big screen. They couldn't just
problematic.
I didn't hear the Japanese complain about because ninjas are a Japanese thing. So what you think Chinese are you assume Chinese is ninja?
Well, we're dealing with I'm going to call them a subgroup. We're dealing with a subgroup that want quote diversity, but there's no study of any nuance to it. So I mean, it's like I said, it's very caricatured. So if you're Asian, you're Asian. If you're black, you're black. If you're white, you're white. If you're trans, you're trans. So it's like, okay, so that to me sounds like a very R word type thinking, because when we talk about Asian culture, you have to more or less take into consideration which culture are we talking about.
That should bring up the R word. Anybody ever heard of that one movie with Brendan Fraser and Sandra Bullock called Crash? They were one of many ensemble characters. And there's this one scene where I'm guessing he's supposed to be a politician.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least he's trying to run for mayor somewhere or run a political campaign, right? And he's questioning his party members about how racist it sounds if he's trying to reach out to a certain demographic, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And throughout the whole scene, he's asking, "Does that sound racist?" I'm like, Brandon, you should not even be in this film. You are the least racist person I've ever seen. There's not a racist bone in your body because everybody loves you, man.
Mm-hmm.
All you need to do is tear off the sleeves tear the sleeves off your shirt and show your muscles, and the girls fall down around you.
He's still surprisingly in good shape.
Yeah, and not just white women. Black women too. I'm talking about pecs so large, all the want to fall.
And that's the problem I think we have, especially with the SJW and woke crowd, and what Trooper was saying about everything. Yeah, what Trooper was saying about everything.
I love Sam Proctor's quoting me. Snake Eyes has a mask because ninja. Like, I will recommend you guys check out Gaijin Goomba when he does Witch Ninja. He lays out the foundation because the reason why he goes by that moniker because he is a Gaijin. He lives in Japan. He has a residence in Japan. He's there as a teacher to teach students, the Japanese students, English. Of course, he's there. Yes, he's a white man, of course, right? But that's not the point. The point is that where I'm going with that is he has studied the art of ninjutsu. He's trained in the ninja dojo, so he knows his stuff. He actually has his his stripes, if you will. So he laid out the foundation that ninjas are not supposed to reveal their identity at all, or at least they should. They're supposed to get in, get out without being detected. Now, any form of clothing that they wear should always match their identity. You should never know who they are. Now we know who we all know what Snake Eyes look like, of course, but like that's what I mean by when I say he wears the mask because ninjas are not supposed to reveal their identity. Now Storm Shadow, of course, both Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow are wearing the wrong type of color to their clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not be around the bush because they're supposed to be undetected.
Mm-hmm.
So undetected basically means you wear as much dark or white in the case of Storm Shadow as possibly can, whereas they're supposed to wear a certain shade of blue that kind of blends well within the darkness, so you can hide in the shadows. But that's what I mean by he wears a mask because
why he's called Storm
that's
Shadow.
ninja.
The reason why he's called Storm Shadow is because he fights in snowstorms. And Snake Eyes, he usually is under cover of darkness.
That's why Storm Shadow always fails against his fights with Snake Eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Little practicality on his part.
Yeah.
When will there ever be a time when you need to hide in a snowstorm wherever location you are in? Hardly. I'm like, bruh. As much as people like to tout their rivalry, I'm like, guys, just admit it. Storm Shadow is one of the dumbest ninjas I've ever known.
Well, you gotta,
I mean, as over the top as G.I. Joe is standards, he is still the dumbest ninja I've ever known.
well, and that's also exactly. It's because what's driving Storm Shadow revenge against Snake Eyes, and it causes him to always make his mistakes.
Right.
Because the overall message in this story is that what does revenge get you? Nothing.
You know, I have to say this is a big rabbit hole to go down on as far as topics. So there might be a 2 or a 3, but you know, now that we're at the top of the second hour, I think we never really never tackled, you know, the term franchise fatigue. So I kind of wanted to bring it back to that for a minute.
Yeah.
To conceptualize it for everyone in the chat, franchise fatigue was never a thing until 2017.
Ghostbusters 2016.
Oh yeah.
Well, I would argue that, and I've argued that with you before.
When there hadn't been a sequel in so long, and then Ghostbusters failed at the box office. Oh, I guess everybody was just tired of it.
But you guys are looking at it as a concept. Okay, that's fine if you want to look at it as a concept. I'm looking at it in terms of a buzzword or a term. So franchise fatigue wasn't necessarily thrown out there until I want to say 2018, because this coincided with The Last Jedi and Bob Iger having to make a statement when he more or less, you know, questions about Last Jedi came up, because subsequently, I mean, we have to take it back to Force Awakens, because Force Awakens in and of itself actually cost less as a film. So when we're talking about production costs, I mean, it cost what, 245 million in and of itself. Recoup that money within the first weekend, and this is December 20th, 2015. So I mean, it grossed 2 billion. Okay, just to kind of give you some perspective. So we're already hitting the 2 billion. Okay, cool. That's a number we need to remember. Last Jedi came out December 15th. It was sandwiched in between a whole bunch of films that came out that month, that year. You had Shape of Water, which went on to win an award. You know, it literally came out. And I don't know why
I still like that movie.
I don't know why they did this. They went ahead and they released it as a mid-December release. I guess they were tepid about releasing it during Christmas weekend. Because I mean, if you think about it, guess what films actually came out that particular weekend? It was films that you would not have remembered. But subsequently, let's stick with the 15th. Okay, so it came out next to Ferdinand, so it came out next to 20th Century Fox. This should have been a slam dunk, and instead it was outdone December 20th between Jumanji's Welcome to the Jungle and Greatest Showman. So you already saw people going to the theaters to catch up with these franchises, and on top of that, getting a musical with Hugh Jackman.
Hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
so you have
Not a red.
yeah. So I'm sorry, Bob Iger, not a good reference, but okay. So Last Jedi got
So basically, what he's saying is he could have said that, you had two options. You had two options around December release. You had either gender studies wars or gender wars,
gender war.
Mhm.
or
That's right.
or you or you want, so tell me, do you want to go to where all the color lies? Like I'm like, that's an apt decision right there, because I actually, for all its faults, I actually enjoy Greatest Showman. For
Yeah.
Well,
all
and
its faults,
here's the thing.
and on the same day, in the same night, I saw Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle,
Exactly. I did the
and
same
on that
thing.
same
I did the
night,
same thing.
and on that same night, what other movie that we saw? The Belko Experiment, I believe.
That's a great movie too.
That was three movies in one night before we saw
I mean, technically,
Last
Last
Jedi.
Jedi should have obliterated all these films, right?
True.
No,
Yep.
True.
And
I
mind you,
yeah.
sorry,
But
mind you, all three of those movies I enjoyed for all their faults.
yeah,
Well, say for Belko Experiment. Belko Experiment was actually pretty gnarly in
yeah.
that front.
That's
I
an
Go
was
ahead.
That's how you do a unique. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
just briefly. I was just going to say that the people that I talked to told me they enjoyed Jumanji more than they did. Excuse me, The Force Awakens. And I was, as soon as I found out Han was going to die in a really sorry, stupid, dumb, unheroic way, I wasn't going to pay money to see that. So they told me actually Jumanji. Now that shouldn't happen. I agree with you, Wolf. Um, the Last Jedi should have just been stepped on everything, and no other movie should have been remembered. So it's very
Yep.
interesting you guys remember those other films. Now, unfortunately, Wolf, I wasn't that crazy about the Greatest Show or Shape of Water, but it's very
Mhm.
interesting you guys remember those
Yeah.
when you had, and that was the month
Like
of
Last Jedi should have
Force
obliterated all that. Should have
right, right,
obliterated all that.
I
right.
remember it I remember Shape of Water for having that unique opening of a woman going through her daily life, dealing with herself before she go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Oh,
for me, it was like a pseudo retro. Gosh, like a
And
retro
she
noir.
and she
For
and
me, it
she
was like retro
and she
noir.
fell in love with a Lovecraftian creature. Okay, I like
Well,
it.
I mean, if she wants to go,
I
do
think
the
the
Schooner
Lovecraftian
Tuna,
creature
that's
though is
cool.
all but
But
appearance, in appearance only.
yeah.
It doesn't really follow. It doesn't follow the Lovecraft.
Oh, and I also did like Octavia Spencer's character in that movie. That she's a riot.
No, she's
I thought,
awesome.
I thought the film was basically a romantic version of the creature from the Black Lagoon. I think the director said he wanted.
That's the way I saw it. I mean, I went with two
Yeah.
friends, and I think
He
I enjoyed it the
he
most. And I had the one friend who was like sour the whole time. Oh, I know how it
Yeah.
ends. Oh, I know how it ends. I'm like, bro.
Then don't watch movies if you know how it is, Mr. God
Yeah,
wannabe.
it's like, bro, go get me something to eat then if you already know how it ends.
Since she's
Freaking
supposed
get
to
me
be
some,
omnipresent and omniscient,
yeah, get me a freaking flat Thai chicken pizza in
run
a
me a
terracotta,
business. Then if I,
like,
tell me if I'm going to have a
right?
business. If you seem to know how it all ends, I'm like,
Well, to get it back to why we suddenly this became the buzz term and all the freaking shill outlets kept saying the same crap. Okay, so Force
Mhm.
Awakens got 245 million. Last Jedi, which looks even worse in terms of production. I mean, yeah, it's colorful, whatever, but it looks worse than Force Awakens. It's not. It's gritty. It got a budget of 317 million. So they tossed an extra mill on this freaking crap factory. And it only
mhm.
grossed a billion, where freaking Force Awakens grossed too. So literally, their profits just
Well,
slashed in half
you also
within 2
you also have
years.
to look at it. You also have to look at it from Disney's point of view because they paid $4 billion almost for the rights to Star Wars,
Yeah.
and so they
I'm
needed.
sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but from what they basically just saying, especially when they bring up franchise fatigue or all kind of fatigues, right? It's basically them saying it's our fault we didn't like their movie, or it's our fault we didn't pay the
Well,
movie
well,
enough.
yeah, yeah,
it was,
exactly.
let's put it
Yeah,
this way. It was Bob Iger's way of quarterbacking for technically a flop, because it was a flop. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
like here's the thing.
Agree.
Here's the thing, and this is why I brought this up earlier, because it makes perfect sense. So Captain Marvel got 160 mil to get it made. Ant-Man and the Wasp got 162 mil. So literally it got the same budget. So they figured out from this whole Last Jedi fiasco how to make $1 billion film. That if they just freaking tacked the name on it, tacked the character on it, took everything out of it, and just made it a woke storyline, they could easily walk away with billing. And that, I think,
Well,
that
they're trying
dovetails
to
to my
prove
argument.
that
Well,
their wokeness can make money, or at least they're basically
yeah,
what they're
Yeah,
really
yeah.
proving is the
That's what they're
fact that
saying.
like they want to play off the idea that their wokeness can bring them money, but
well,
to
no,
them
no.
to
I would
them
argue,
they I'm getting there, Trooper. I'm getting there. But in their heads, it's still a win-win because people are understanding the message.
no. See, I'm coming at it from a different perspective, in that
I know
they figured out how to bake a cake with the least amount of
you're
ingredients and
tackling the
still
business
walk
side,
away with $1
whereas
billion. Yeah, they're still walking away with $1 billion. I mean, you can call it a success or not, but I mean, a success in the terms of they don't have to add any story. They can be generic characters. They can just add a brand name to it, like Target, Walmart, Marvel, Disney, whatever, Discovery, AT&T. Sandwich it between a big mega franchise, because we're at the end of this freaking cluster. Like, we're at the very end of it now. Like, Endgame is the next film coming up. Now, did people really feel compelled to go watch this film? I argue that they were not, because what came out in the media was the fact that Disney was cooking their numbers to an extent. So we don't know how much this film actually made. Now, the ledger says 1 billion, but I didn't see that. And what I was saying earlier before, you saw more audience participation with Wonder Woman than you did with Captain Marvel. So how do you argue to me that everyone went and saw Captain Marvel? I don't believe that at all, especially from the merchandising. And dovetailing back to a previous comment,
the marketing didn't help either.
Disney owns the merchandising when it comes to Sony films. So did we see a lot of Ant-Man and Wasp stuff? Not really. Maybe some Marvel Legends figures here and there, but not an entire rack of Ant-Man and Wasp. A little bit with Spider-Man, but not from Homecoming. That was the crazy part. Disney basically holds the purse. So I mean, if they want to push their stuff, yeah, you saw a whole bunch of Avengers toys, action figures, 3-inch figures, 6-inch figures. You saw all that. They saturated the market with that. They were making bank off of this stuff. And when it came to Captain Marvel, they figured out that, hey, we can just slap a name on it and they'll buy it. And so this is where we're moving. This is where we're moving, because according to their numbers, they're guaranteed to at least bring in $1 million, or not $1 million, $1 billion with Phase 4, if you will. Does anyone really care about Phase 4? No, they don't. But they're going to want to go because they want the, quote, Marvel experience. So this is what it's been boiled down to. It's the Marvel experience. Well, what does that mean?
Basically, who's in the in crowd and who's on the out. And basically, those on the inside of this are, you're not making it appealing.
Well, okay. Well,
real quick, guys. Real quick,
Yeah.
let me address Sam Prato's comment, because this is a Jurassic Park thing, and that's my thing, and I want to address it. Okay, that was one of the those pitches.
Yeah.
Here's why that would not have worked as a Jurassic Park story. So, you guys remember the hacker Dennis Nedry, right?
Yes, in the first one, right?
Yep.
Is that the first? Yeah.
Yep. And Engine's rival company, I forgot what they were called. They were called something dumb.
Something that Dobson worked for.
Yeah, basically Dobson mentions the procedure of the operation basically of how that can works, which is it's
Mhm.
24-hour limit, right?
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
That 24-hour limit is done the moment we see the guy everybody is basically walking operating in the morning. That would not have worked. Those embryos are dead.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what like
Well,
whoever came with the idea, I would have fired them.
I think what it was is it was maybe like a potential Easter egg into something else, which they never bothered to explore that. I get it; it was fun, sort of like how the
Yeah, they were going to go with human dinosaur hybrids, which the hybrid part, yes, still made it into Jurassic World, just not the human part though.
I
I
mean,
mean,
I mean, they figured out how to explain away the gauntlet in Ragnarok from what we had seen to the new iteration of the gauntlet by just doing a quick scene with Hela,
yeah, the
fake.
fake. that
But here's my thing. Talking
that was
about
Taiki
chemical.
Waititi said, yeah, yeah, stop
Yeah.
hanging on to this theory.
Yeah. So
The
so
Russos got something up their sleeve. Don't worry, guys, we got you covered.
so yeah, where Last Jedi was like a flop, okay? Mind you, a month before. And this is why people are, oh, I'm just so tired, franchise fatigue. I'm like, no, you're a moron, you're a sheep. You bought into the Disney propaganda that they
Maybe I
fed
am
you,
franchise fatigued.
right? Well, no, okay. So if we go back a month, same year, 2017, Ragnarok came out, and their budget was little bit more than what Captain Marvel and because what you're seeing budget wise is they're starting to scale down on their budgets because these films are getting ridiculous. But so they got a budget of 180 million. That film is considered a commercial success because it brought in 853 million. So it made its money back in spades. It did not cross the $1 billion mark, but realistically, I mean, compared to what they started with and where they ended with, total success. Where Last Jedi is just seen as a commercial flop because it deviated from so many things, but in doing so, they figured out a basic cookie cutter formula for subsequent films coming out of Disney, whether it be Marvel or whether it be Star Wars.
Exactly. I agree with what Trooper's saying. And I
Yeah.
actually thought it was funny because they were clearly trying to deconstruct Star Wars in the eighth movie. And they
Oh,
were hoping that everybody who saw the last Jedi hadn't watched a single Star Wars movie.
well, that's where the appeal is. It's like you can quote like Star Wars, but not be soaked in the Star Wars universe. I mean that kind of diatribe, and that's
In this too, they say let's deconstruct Star Wars in the eighth movie. I'm like, okay, we have 7 movies, and now we get to the 8th movie. That's when we decide to start deconstructing.
Well, that
well,
falls on the stupidity of Kathleen Kennedy. It's very
Yeah.
clear. And that's another problem why I think that, and I was going to bring this up while you talk about franchise fatigue, is because I feel, maybe you guys feel different from me, right now in the major movie studios, you've got morons running them. They're idiots. They don't know, they know the business side of entertainment, but they don't know the creative side of
Oh no,
entertainment.
they don't know the
You
well,
business
well,
side
yeah,
of
no.
'cause these
entertainment.
are the same
They don't
studios
know the
that
business
Is it
came
side.
both?
out
So you
As
think it's
Because if
both?
they did,
So you think it's
as
both?
I'm just
we
saying. I'm saying because if they knew the business side, they wouldn't be losing money.
Well, here's the thing. It's that same
Okay.
subset of people that went through university learning about critical race theory. So that literally is their scope of reality at this point. That's
They
that's
think they
that's
think
kind of where
CTR runs through
they
everything,
take it
even
out into the world.
business.
Yeah. Yeah, they take it out into the world and it's like, "Oh, you don't have a diversity and equity and inclusion board? Oh, we're going to get sued." So of course, what's the company going to do? "Oh, well, we're a bunch of troglodytes. We can't think for ourselves." You know what? You're right. We pay you so much money. Let's have a diversity inclusivity and and that's where these things come from. And then right subsequently, oh, you don't have unconscious bias training. Oh, you're going to get sued. Oh, we're a troglodyte company. You know more than I do because we pay you the big bucks. Let's go ahead and do the unconscious bias training. And this
Did
is
you
where,
guys? I'll be going there. Did you guys forget how law works? They can't sue you. They can't sue you without a claim.
well, they
Yeah.
don't know that. They don't know
Well,
that. I mean, we're talking about low information executives. I mean, they know the business, but they don't know the law side.
Anybody for anything now, as long as you can prove innuendo or something like that.
Well, I mean, that's where everything is now. It's either libel or defamation at this point. So, I mean, look at the platform we're on. I think this particular platform is more focused on ad revenue, and I mean, granted, yeah, the algorithms are a little stringent, but at the very end of the day, it's focused on the bottom dollar. So, and they're more focused on what their advertisers are going to say versus what they support and don't support. I mean, that's why the terms of service are so vague, because really, who are they trying to stay in league with? It's the advertisers. But it's one of those things. If you have a whole bunch of pink scalps running those advertisers, you run into another problem, because again, advertiser A says, "Oh my goodness."
Okay, Trooper, you going on and on about pink scalps. I need 150 pink scalps, and I want my scalps.
Right. So
I got what was it? Have you guys ever seen what was it? Dr. Strangelove?
No.
There's a
Want
scene
to?
in that movie
It's on my
where
bucket list.
That's
where
what
they're
Peter
talking
Sellers,
about-
right? I've seen that with Peter Sellers.
I mean, we could call them
Yeah.
Puritans if you want. I mean, it's the same thing. Pink scalps to me just sounds more like
there was a sequence in the movie. There was a sequence in the movie where the Russians were saying that they built a doomsday weapon because they thought America had a doomsday weapon, and they say, "Where did you get that intelligence?" The New York Times. And I'm just like, maybe this is what the studio execs heads are like now, saying our source was Twitter.
Well, here's my thing. Going back to Black Widow. If this film does indeed confirm to me that she is trapped in the Soul Stone, and this is all happening in the Soul Stone, I might be piqued to see another film, but I don't see that happening. The only things that really have me piqued on the subsequent phase at all is Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange, to me, was not like the ultimate hit. Like, it did well. It did well. But it did a few things that I thought definitely missed the mark, because again, we're going into this phase of film production where now suddenly everything is becoming problematic, being the buzzword.
Yes.
Problematic.
Mhm.
How long before Scarlet? I mean, we already got it with Scarlet Witch and WandaVision. Well,
Yeah.
Doctor Strange coming in was problematic,
It was
and I'm just like, oh no. And now, if Scarlett Johansson does come back to the MCU in Phase 4, they're going to say her femininity is problematic.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
They're going to have her
And
say.
it's going to happen to Monica Rambeau, and that's the thing. Monica Rambeau,
Next thing they're gonna do.
very feminine in appearance. My woman has curves.
Mhm.
How are you going to pitch that to the Puritans that don't like curves and like their?
Why are we pitching them to them in the first place? That's my
like
question.
The Puritans do not like the curves or the way she looks, is because they know, man, I'm never going to look as good as that.
Yeah, pretty much.
So they always want, and worse, they blame it on the men.
Well, here's the thing. I know Professor did a whole video on Tila, which I couldn't sit down for because this. I'm having woke fatigue is what I'm having. There, new buzzword.
We all are.
New buzzword. So, or Puritan fatigue. So my whole thing is this: it's okay if the Puritans are going to go ahead and degenderize all our characters to where they all look like little boys. That's another problem, because now we're going into something completely different that I don't even want to go down that road.
There's this. I will add to what Trooper is saying. There is a huge fixation on femboys nowadays. It's been on the rise.
Yeah,
and I'm saying that as a furry. I'm saying that because I'm seeing it in the furry community. It's a big new trend now. Where you, and for those who don't know, y'all should already know what a femboy is.
Okay.
But I like to talk, so I'm going to explain it. It's just a dude with the body of a. It's just a dude with the shaping of a female body without the added packages and the double D's.
Well, for a Puritan, that's easy to achieve, because all you got to do is you got to strap the watermelons down, and you can look like a little boy. But and
a little terrifying.
It is. It really is. But I mean, not to be too blunt on
even call that phallic woman.
No, not yet, not yet. But
They're gonna redefine it.
it's
They're gonna
circling
redefine it.
it's circling the phallic woman, and we know, amongst this roundtable that everyone who's watching pretty much already has the idea or the concept of what the phallic woman is.
Mhm.
So, and if not, Professor Geek's got a ton of freaking videos. You could freaking just rip them off of YouTube. You got a whole semester
Mhm.
on graphic novel literature right then and there, and you just avoided paying thousands of dollars and just support his channel, throw him a like or whatever, and fangirl all you want. But what I'm getting at is that we're at a point now that once we hit that phallic woman, I don't know what's going to happen to male characters. I really don't.
You're
Although,
right
Because
well, what's going to happen is, Trooper, I mean, interrupt, but I agree with you. What's going to happen is you're seeing it already. If the male characters are Caucasian, they'll be totally eliminated.
yeah,
And if it is a male character, they're basically going to chop his balls off. I'm seeing that now
I
already.
can
They're
see that. I
becoming
can see that.
the masculinity has been taken away from them. They're either
Yeah,
becoming feminized or little weak little puppies, or we're seeing that already. That's already happening. Basically, chopping off
and
the
the
man's
women are
balls.
being transformed into men.
Yeah,
mhm.
I
yeah.
mean, that's what we're getting now. Now we have to, women in these films have to almost have these like androgynous features
Yeah.
and be more masculine than feminine.
And then what's really
I
funny
like
is
Brian Gilmartin's comment. Before you go, Trooper, let me read Brian's comment here.
yeah,
Says, you know what they'll never do. Sorry, you know what they'll never have the rocks to do? Make one of those femboys a dangerous villain for a heroine. Well, they don't want to be Japan. Japan do that all the time. Kuja,
yeah,
anyone?
yeah. Well, you do that. Guess what you're doing? You're sending a viewership, or you're sending that crowd to go find more manga. Is what you're doing.
Dude,
And they get their
here's
hands on
another thing I
manga,
want to
they're not
bring
going to
up.
put it down. They're not going to put it down because it's
Mhm.
actual story. It's actual characters.
And
And
here's another thing I want to bring up. The one thing that makes representation right, or at least does representation right, you know what I'm saying, is the
Mhm.
fact that any one of these supposed representation talking points,
mhm,
the fact that death universal this is a male word, universalize all races.
mhm,
Criminality universalize all races. All races are capable of dying, and
Mhm.
all races are capable of committing crimes. You know what I'm saying? It
Mhm.
takes strength, diligence, and commitment to do good, to at least or at least rather present the good in each race too. And the reason why I say this, the whole death thing and the criminal thing, I've seen so many movies, right? Too many to name, right? But
Mhm.
one thing that was always a constant in my mind that I realized that even in movies, any race can die,
mhm.
whether you're
yes.
whether you're a minority, whether you're whether you're gay, whether you are trans, whether you are even black or rainbow, if you will. Anyone can die. Now you can have a complaint that too many of us die in every movie, which is
That's a fair.
nonsense.
That's
It's I,
you
st-
could say it's a fair.
it,
You could say it's a fair question, but at the end of the day, it doesn't hold water.
my argument would be, well, what do they do? What do they do before they die? What what
Exactly.
what what why is this, why is it important to you to really get pissed off that a black man dies? Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, are you mad the fact that it's a black man that just died, or are you mad at the black man did enough things he didn't deserve to die? Which one? Because if it's the former, then you're looking at, I hate to say this, but you're looking at it the wrong way. Nobody is safe in a horror movie. Nobody is
Exactly.
safe in an action movie. Safe for the heroes, yes, or at least the final girl, yes, but nobody ultimately is safe in a movie. Even in comedy, whether it's a racist comedy or a satirical comedy, nobody is safe. You should live comfortably with that fact that
Mhm.
no one is safe in those type of films, or at least in that type of genre. So there was a conversation I had with one of my black coworkers when she was here, when she was with us. She asked me, so what do you think about what do you think about black people dying every time in horror movies? Well, at least I didn't have to watch. I said this. Well, at least I didn't watch. Excuse me for what I'm about to say. At least I had to watch the homie die, or at least suffer. If it was a quick death, well, thank goodness I didn't. Why would you say that? Why can't he just live throughout the movie? So you can watch me, so I can watch him suffer. Yeah, I'm like he run like, bruh, you watching this black dude run around, getting hurt, getting beat up, getting cut, getting stabbed, and you still want the brother to live? Let the brother die. Let him die. And besides, you got plenty of white people dying quicker than him. So why can't he die quickly? I don't want you trying to tell me that I'm okay with this brother running around getting stabbed, shot, whatever in any horror movie. No, let the brother die. I'd rather see the brother die than watch him suffer. No other white people, they can suffer all they want. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But no, that's what she asked me. I said, what? So I can watch him suffer? And she looked at me. She looked at me like, wait, huh? Like, yeah.
Like,
Why would you want him to live? I looked at her I looked at her dead in her eyes. I'm like, why would you want him to live? So he can suffer more? Look, whenever I see a black man die first in a horror movie, I'm like, well, at least I don't have to watch this brother suffer. It was a quick death too, apparently. I'm like I'm glad. When a brother died, I'm glad. If he living, I'm sad. Go ahead, Leia. Go ahead, Leia.
I was going to say, your friend is thinking like SJWs. SJWs feel that, well, that will kill. Exactly that, and I'm noticing that a lot. There's good and bad in every culture, but SJWs say there's only evil in straight white men culture. So let all them die, but excuse me, we're
That
going
is
to
for
let
a rude awakening.
yeah let the people, let the black people live, and then they'll be happy and feel good about themselves. So what you with that answer, what you just gave them, she probably looked at you like you were speaking in tongues, because she's probably thought that you were going to say, um, yeah, I wish more black people would live in more horror films or get killed off in films and be alive. And they wouldn't have to suffer. But that's where the SJWs are making their mistake. They feel they're doing us a favor by killing off uh, straight white people and letting black people live, thinking that that is somehow going to make us feel good about ourselves, and we'll go out and we'll be better human beings and feed, butterflies and birds now because of that. But that's totally the opposite of that. So I do agree with what you said.
And
I don't believe there's
it
any
makes
wrong
me
in evil.
nauseous. It makes me nauseous how most black folk be pushing this idea that horror. We might as well turn to the fun talk since we're in the 2 hour mark, but we can still add on to this topic too. But like I said, there was this little video ad on YouTube about this horror masterclass, and this one black lady starts out like, we always love horror, but horror ain't never loved us. I'm like, excuse you,
I saw that. Yeah.
excuse you. I'm like, what? Wait a minute. The only way I could Here's the thing. The only way I'm willing to buy into what she's saying is if you never seen no black people in horror movies. Like there was a there like they like the news announced to the whole country, right? That no black people are allowed in horror movies. That's the only way I can believe that. Only way I can believe that horror has never liked black folk. But the context where she was going with is that we always die in movies. I'm like, that's your issue. That is your issue. Because I'm hearing that tired ass talk. Excuse me. I'm really sick and tired of that tired ass talk about how horror it is damaging to black people image. I'm like, no, 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 no. Uh-uh. I like the
Mm-mm.
fact that
No.
here's one thing I can glean from horror movies when it comes to black folk. Black folk are obviously are made to be the more sense making throughout the whole movie. Like the
Thinking like
whole
the audience.
yeah.
Thinking
They,
they
they're
think
always
it's
voice. I'm like, how the heck are you talking about some horror don't like you when they always voice your thoughts of what you be thinking when you watch these horror movies that they do the most smart thing but they still end up dying anyways.
Mhm.
That's the whole point of horror. That's the whole point of certain situations like that. You do everything right, but everything will there are times Murphy Law kick in. Murphy's
Mhm.
nobody is immune to Murphy's law. You is not holding a rabbit's foot. You is not holding on to no horseshoe or no T-bone.
Mhm.
Okay? Wait, T-bone's for wishing, excuse me.
Um,
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
yeah,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
when I hear black griefers, I'm gonna call them that griefers. They always want to lay on their preconceived griefs all over the place. I'm like, you guys really need to start looking at that light at the end of the tunnel and start following that light at the end of the tunnel, or at least look to the sky or something, look to the bright side of things. Because I'm serious. I'm like, bro, going back to what I said to my coworker, she asked me, what do you think, like, what do you think about black people dying in movies? I'm like, well, that's good. Like, how's that good? Because I don't have to watch the brother die. I mean, I don't have to watch the brother suffer.
it's also this subtle. It's that subtlety of the one thing that connects all of us because we to to say that to give somebody an exception to dying is to claim that they're above the limitations of life, and I'm like no, everybody dies.
Mhm.
Hmm.
That's the one
Yes.
thing that unites us all.
Go ahead,
But
lady.
go ahead, Leah.
Sorry, Schooner. Go ahead, Leia,
Oh,
because she
I,
want to talk for a while.
I didn't mean to interrupt, Scooney. I agree with both you and Wolf that you got again, black people. I would say good because hey, we want equality, so that means we get killed off in the movies too. Because like
Hmm.
you said, we black people can get murdered and blowed up and shot and chopped up and stabbed and can do dumb, stupid things. That's what they always
Mhm.
kill me is when they say in films that black people, in horror films, that black people never do anything stupid. I know a lot of stupid people that are black that have done some dumb things that got them hurt, shot, killed, or hit by a car or anything else.
And
So no
may
one's
I
any
also add
excuse.
this? May I also add this? I would have been on board to what she assumed I was going to answer had it been the whole white cast that survived and only that one black man died. I would
Mhm.
like that's the only way I would have believed that there was a problem with black people dying so much in movies. If a whole entire white cast from even the stupid characters that live, you wouldn't even. In
Mhm.
fact, why would you even watch a horror like that if only one black person died and all the white characters lived? Like all the white, like every one of the white characters lived, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Mhm.
From where they started at, from where they got off, and the only person that died was the black guy. That's the only time I would have believed that horror has not been kind to black people. If a whole cast, the whole entire cast of white characters survived, but the only one black man died, or the black woman
Okay,
in the
I
case
can.
of the 90s. That's the only way I would believe that. But I don't because one, I'm not number one, I don't think like that. Number two, I've seen a whole host of people die. Mexicans, whites, blacks, even Asians. They all die in these movies equally.
If you're
Now,
doing a slasher horror film, the slasher is not going to care about the color of the skin. He is out
hmm
to kill. You're doing a vampire movie, the vampire's not going to care who's the color of the skin. He needs to eat. So when it
hmm
happens to be a black
Exactly.
person
now,
there, yeah, he
I
Speaking
can
of
will
see
say
that.
slasher,
this.
speaking of slasher flicks, it was hilarious because Scary Movie 4 did something like this too. They said basically, if you got to survive a scary movie, you pretty much got to be gay. So the killer is chasing after one of the characters, and he's injured, he's dying, and he says, "I don't know if this really is going to make any difference, but I am gay." And the masked killer just stops, tilts his head, and he says, and then he just goes, "So yeah, I'm gay. You really can't kill." And then he just stabs him multiple times.
hmm
Right, exactly. They're not going to
Another thing I
discriminate.
want to bring up too. Now, if there was a case of you getting tired of seeing only white cast members, being the last survivors, okay, make that a case. you would like to see a rainbow at the end, with the cast. What I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I'm talking.
Can anybody really name a slasher flick though where the only survivor isn't a woman?
That's a good one. Well, a good example is the Aliens movies, at least the first two. The
Mhm.
first movie, the only one that survived was Sigourney Weaver.
And
The,
that was only
the,
a tread setter.
yes, the black man in that film got killed along with everybody else, but the only one that lived was Sigourney Weaver in the film. But the black guy, Yaphet Kotto, he died in that one. In the second one,
He had perhaps one of the most badass deaths because he went out running to try to charge at the alien.
yeah, he
Hmm.
was trying to save. Yeah, I like that. He didn't die stupid. He died bravely. In the sequel,
Oh, mind you, the lady
um,
who gets killed is not really a lady; it's a transgender.
Yep.
she
Parker
was
Lambert,
Lambert was a transgender in Alien.
apparently.
Didn't know that.
I didn't
No,
know
no.
that either.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Oh,
They
do
I
they
think
say it in the film? Because I need to go back and look at the movie. Did they say it in the
they did
dialogue?
they
I missed
did
it.
they didn't say in dialogue, but there was information. I think their dossier. I think they had dossiers in the movie, right?
Hmm.
That talk about them, but in one of the dossiers where we get to Lambert, it alludes to it. It alludes to that Lambert is in fact transgender despite being played by a biological woman.
Mm-hmm.
Even well, that's how you do it back. That's how you did it back in the days. Period. In the case of Crying Game, Jay Davison was very very androgynous already
Mhm.
enough to really pose as a woman, and of course the big reveal happens, and we all know how I haven't seen the movie from fully, mind you. I just know that infamous scene. But yeah, that's basically what that is. That's not no buzzword where Lambert was always transgender the whole time. No, Ridley Scott planned it for her to be transgender. It's just that she happened to be played by biological woman. But I think in some cases, like I said, I think maybe in the later re-releases when they add some extra footage, I think there was something that alludes to Lambert being transgender, but they don't really outright say it, and it didn't matter anyways because we already knew her character already. So that her being labeled a transgender doesn't really hurt her character at all, anyways, because you like her character being at least until when the alien shows up. That's when she breaks. You still love her character anyways because that's that vulnerability coming in.
But
Yeah.
you're also not like, you feel for Lambert because you gotta consider the source. One, you just saw an alien burst out of a man's chest. You then
Hmm.
found out your crewmates are being picked off, and then your captain dies and she thinks it's her fault because her entire scanner malfunctioned, which led to Dallas getting killed in the air ducts. But I'm convinced Ash sabotaged that motion
Yeah,
sensor.
yeah.
I'm
Did
convinced
too.
he sabotaged it.
Yes, I thought that.
Ash done a lot of things. He like you would be hard pressed to even think otherwise that he didn't do it, especially that it was by his hand that thing came onto the ship in the first place. If you really look back into that one scene where they bring Kane back after the face hugger latches onto his face, like
Mhm.
there's a lot of things he's done that we know that he's capable of, and that's Bilbo Baggins, by the way.
I know. I
Mhm.
know.
Thing.
What's
Yeah.
killing in that entire sequence too is that there's this, despite the fact that he's programmed to protect the alien, there are these very subtle things that he's getting somewhat of a satisfaction out of it, especially that scene
Well,
where
he was definitely enjoying giving her mouth to mouth.
but
Mhm.
it was like the scene when he says, "I admire its purity, a perfect organism that kills." And then he says, "I can't lie to you about your chances of survival." And he gives that sadistic smile by saying, "But you have my sympathies."
And I'm sorry, David is nothing like Ash. I'm
No.
sorry, really. No matter how much you want to make love to your android characters, you will never, ever, 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 ever get me to like David. I don't care for David. Michael Fassbender did a great job playing him, but
He's a
he's not.
perfect bad guy, but he's not a redeemable bad guy. If you're trying to make him redeemable, you failed because I still say he's a perfect villain.
Yes.
Yeah,
He's not a redeemable villain.
I'm just saying. For me, it will always be Ash as the evil android and Bishop as the good android. So there's that. Like you already had two great androids. Cole, she's at the far bottom. She sucks. She whines too
Well,
much.
by the time you get to Prometheus, really, what was the purpose for it? Because I think the first two Alien films. Now, let's bring this back, like Trooper said. Let's bring this back to franchise fatigue. The Alien franchise and the Terminator franchise, because I believe the first two films of those franchises said everything it needed to say. When they started doing 3s and 4s and 5s, to me, they were stretching out the franchise. How
I like
can you
how
top
you did that.
Terminator? Terminator 2 cannot be topped. Boy, I remember the year that came out, and it was just like I went in this thing just not expecting to be one of the greatest sequels ever made. If you want to talk about
Night,
sequels,
Brian.
yeah, absolutely one of the Night Brian. It's absolutely one of the sequels. It hit every note, even to the very end. So there was no reason for me when it said Terminator 3. I'm like, why? What? And to me, when 3 came out, I didn't see it because I didn't and then when I saw it on television, to me it didn't live up. I couldn't see any other reason why to do it. And then it started beating a dead horse. Even with some of the TV shows like the Sarah Connor Chronicles, I'm sorry, everybody loved that show, but I didn't care for it because I figured there's nothing else to say. 1 and 2.
Let me address Sam Proctor real quick, Leia.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
It I wouldn't say it would be transgender. That's what it was called back then. I think originally it was probably intersex because we did have, I believe, hermaphrodites was noticed, I believe, and of course we didn't understand that. So you wouldn't be surprised if one of them ended up in a freak show circus. You know what I'm saying?
Intersectionality is
No, intersex as in sex, as in the individual has either a dick and a pussy, excuse me,
well,
or they were born.
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead.
But intersectionality didn't.
This for the people in the back. Yeah,
like intersex is more synonymous with intersectionality now. We didn't really have like a word for hermaphroditism, and that's all it was. And that was it. I mean, there wasn't, special niche words for whatever gender or sexual preference, if you will, or I should say social attachment, as far as relationships.
Social attachment.
Well, yeah. Well, the quote demisexuals, if you will, you have to have a strong attachment to someone before you actually feel something. And I'm
sexuals.
I'm like, that's kind of normal. I'm like,
I
don't know why you're trying to, specialize something that's a normal thing.
If I had $1 for every time I see somebody put in their bio pan and poly.
Yeah, he, her, they, them.
Yes, them days. Oh my goodness.
Demi switch poly.
I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to contribute to whatever delusion you think you have. That's not how I'm built.
I recently switched I recently updated my bio, and I said let me pull up my Twitter
when I take a report, it reads as either male subject or female subject, not they them subject.
Yes, it sounds like you're speaking Shakespeare.
I'm sorry, I don't care how you want to package or tape down your whatever parts or whatnot. That's not for me to know or find out. But
so I don't have my. So here's the thing: I don't have any. I don't have no pronouns. I don't have no sexuality, sexual orientation, or whatever, or even my
Well, here's the elephant in the room.
I'm getting there. Here's what I have in my bio. Here's what. Are you ready? Drum roll. I ask, what are you doing with your life, and where do you want to go?
Well, I was gonna say let's.
I heard a win there.
Well, I was gonna say if they them commit a crime, I'm sorry, you still have to write a report, and it still has to be the comprehension level has to be there for a judge to be able to read it. Just have
Mhm.
to. So guess what? If you want to call yourself a they them or whatnot, I'm sorry, that's not what's that's not what's going to go down in the record. It's either male
Nope.
subject or female subject.
Or it.
I unfortunately, the law does not make a distinction, and if we get to that level of crazy, then at that
Law don't care about your feelings. They so
yeah,
fake.
pretty much.
Law don't care about your feelings.
Because
I
at
was
the
going
end, oh, go
I was
ahead.
going to say, Commander, when you said what you had written there, what you want to do, I was going to say I was speechless because I'm like, well, that pretty much sums up everything. So there should be no rooms for thems and thys. I feel like I'm speaking Shakespeare when I say that. Thems and thys and those and these and ist and phobes and they went to the village of the thee thys and I feel like I'm speaking Shakespeare when I talk
The
that
B
stuff.
side.
Man,
Yeah.
who is male? Who is born boy? Who is then?
Well, that's the other term that those are the other terms that
Mhm.
are starting to arise out of all this conflation because now you have to make a distinction, right? So now your typical day-to-day person is now starting to use terms like male born and female born, and I'm sure that's going to set up a whole bunch of pink scalps because that means that they have to acknowledge the fact that when they, they hatched out of their egg, whatever egg they hatched out of,
True. Yes.
that they either were, they either were wearing a blue bow or a pink bow, and can't have, can't have, that separation there. So, and that's what I've noticed is now
Imagine a police report saying suspect is a non-binary looking male who has
that
pink hair and is running down the street in a tutu.
that works for the media, unfortunately. But as far
What
as
are you
real life,
talking?
that's not how it functions in real life. So,
Mm-mm.
so I mean, that's just
They
what it is.
misgender me. You misgender me. Get them handcuffs. You misgender.
I mean, unless they want to sit there and start doing some reforms, and then we can have transgender Olympics, which they don't want to talk about because then
No.
that actually puts them in their own category, which means they have to compete among their own kind. If we're talking about they them, they have to
Yep.
compete amongst each other. Oh, heaven forbid. That
You
also
know,
means that also
us
means
blacks, we don't have
that
no problem with this, considering that we don't have no problem shooting each other.
that
So
that means that they also need their own detention areas.
I
When
joke, but it's
when
tragic. But
they
I,
commit a crime, and I use when they commit a crime, they're going to need their own detention areas. There needs to be laws as to what matrimony looks like if we're going to go there. I mean, they're opening a can of worms with all their word magic, but at the very end of the day, I mean, those are the topics they don't want to touch. What as far as transgender jail, is that a thing? It's going to have to be a thing. Transgender health. I mean, we have a dude who pretends he's a woman, being the assistant health and human services secretary. Those are
Mhm.
the issues that need to be brought up if we're going to legitimize this. But
Oh
this
my
is
God!
not.
I think
This is
I
not about
think
legitimizing that. It's about, and I'm going to call it for what it is. It's about playing pretend and getting your brownie points for as many little boxes as you can check. So
Playground tactics.
yeah, go ahead, Schooner. I'm sorry I cut you off.
that's okay. It's just at one point how far we're gonna have. What am I looking to say? It's going to get to a point where, in order to climb the social ladder, we're going to have to pull a Dustin Hoffman from Tootsie, or maybe a Robin Williams.
Right? Oh man, I mean, again, good film references.
Yes.
Oh,
But yeah, so there again, there is no such thing as franchise fatigue. When Bob Iger got cornered, he already had his talking points, and you saw everyone else pick those up, and so
Dude, just straight a cue card.
and then it was franchise fatigue,
Yes.
franchise fatigue. And here's my thing: even Disney had said that they were looking to do one Star Wars film a year, and when they hit flat on that floor, face down, like we're talking face palm,
Well,
they
Solo
figured,
was the wake up. Solo was the speck in the butt that they deserved because that one. Say true, but I didn't mean to interrupt you. But
oh no,
it
no, no,
was exactly what you said. So it was already going downhill, but Solo was the nail in the coffin because that did much.
I
They
still
didn't
have my rewrite for that
well,
one.
the thing for
can
Solo,
I also say too? Do you remember for a time when they actually were going to the excuse, because it got such a bad review on Rotten Tomatoes, they were actually saying that bots did it?
Well, yeah. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. All right, for everyone in the chat, just again to
So
give
it
you
doesn't
some
just work on
perspective.
elections; it works for movies too.
Yeah, here's some perspective. Okay, so we just got past the Last Jedi fiasco. We're already into Celos coming up next year. The directors get fired. Big liberated boomer feminist. It's a feminist boomer goes ahead and has to have it rewritten. Idris Elba is completely written out of the new script, and you're having to freaking pay top dollar to get a new director to shoot this half baked film that you're wanting.
Mm-hmm.
And the new director they got is just solely because they want his name.
Well, not even that. I mean, okay, you have someone hemorrhaging on the floor, and you're one of those people in the theater who doesn't know how to call 911. What do? You just stare at it, right? So someone else has to come and fix your mess. That's what that Ron Howard thing was.
He's
For
dead.
context,
I mean, boredom.
for context, everybody, what Trooper is saying, I mentioned that in the green room about this event that happened at my job years ago. By the way, it was years ago, not so much now, but a customer had fainted right in front of us while we were in operations, of course, and everybody was just looking in shock, and I'll even put myself as a blame too. I didn't even know what to do whatsoever. Didn't even know that we could actually call for emergencies because nobody informed us where we could go to call or what or how to call 911, which was an interesting way because you're on the military base. You have to dial 911 differently on the military base. You can't really go out and dial 911. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You have to dial an extra number and then you do 911. Which I didn't even know that. I was like, oh, okay. So I made that's one thing I didn't tell you guys back in the green room. But ever since then, like the moment we had new workers, I made my mission before the work was done to tell them like, hey, if you're gonna I know you got a cell phone, but should you decide to use our facility's phone, dial 9 then 911.
Right.
In case you put your cell phone somewhere, and if an emergency happens, if you need to call for emergencies, and remember the building number, which I'm not going to say on stream.
Right. Because
that's not needed to know.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. So
that's yeah.
555-1212.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, just basically say like that's the only way you'll know that they'll have to get on location.
Yeah.
Which is important because if you give them the runaround, then you pretty much are responsible for somebody's life lost. So be careful. So take care with that.
Yeah, so to give people perspective, okay, and now mind you, these are estimated numbers because they had to go ahead and redo a lot of this stuff. And most of these takes that Ron Howard had to do were literally 1 or 2 takes. And I mean, it was like we're talking like scalpel type material where your patient's on the ER bed, but the estimated budget we're talking about maybe what 275 million, and that's the reported estimate. There was a lot more money thrown at this thing. And to give you a little bit of perspective, that's Force Awakens money, not Last Jedi money, Force Awakens money. And opening weekend, it didn't even top half of the costs. I mean, worldwide, in cumulative, I'm thinking maybe 390 million, something like that. But anyway, to more or less give it some context, this thing was not even able to make most of its money back. And you figure with all the reshoots that they had to do and calling everyone back and getting a
dude, in my rewrite, and it's simple. My rewrite would have been just make the whole Kessel Run, the whole entire part of the movie, right in the middle, and him making it through 12 parsecs.
Right.
Now 12 parsecs is off base considering it's a Star Wars loosely basing things on science.
Well,
But
here's the
but
thing.
but my thing was
Right.
it's the same issue I had with Pirates at World's End.
Like, we
And
would have been okay with it.
yeah, what I'm saying is this. My main issue with this one and Pirates at World's End, um, my main issue at World's End is that they didn't spend time enough in at World's End to where it should have been the final conclusion where the final the final battle takes place at. Davy Jones could went there at any given time. That's where he put everybody in the locker, right? So what?
Exactly.
So what? So wouldn't one posit that the Dutchman can go to at World's End, but other ships will have to go the long way. So when they finally get to the long way, and they finally get to that part where they have to escape, right? Wrestling against time, but Davy Jones pop in. We have also we can still get that same that conclusion with Beckett too. We can still get that same conclusion with Beckett. Let's just say this: the Pirate Court will still be out there too, because something about pirates being free and all. Yeah, let's romanticize pirates. Why don't we? But whatever. You still get the Will being captain of the Dutchman. You still get Jack Sparrow, stabbing the heart with Will and all that junk. And yet and through that, through Will's will, he allows the Black Pearl to surface. We don't know that yet until he parts through the sea, and of course you get the line where you got Bootstraps standing right there. It's like he's like you freed them, son. Yeah, they were once my crew, but now you are. And of course we get that Beckett scene where it was just a deal.
Just good business. Just good
That
business.
actually, yes,
I like it.
that actually sounds better than the
so-
movie, because I didn't like it World's End at all. But
So, I mean, the whole thing with Solo is, yeah, we would have been okay with the Kessel Run, but you're always going to have the original trilogy boomer crowd that would have been poo-pooing it, because that's what they do now. So,
Let them poo-poo it. Let them poo-poo it.
That's not my Star Wars.
Let them poo-poo it, because again, that's
why
my
storylines matter. It's like,
in my rewrite. In the case of Solo, the Kessel Run is a famous run, right? That's his claim to fame. He made it through the Kessel Run through 12 parsecs. So, say for instance, they're on their way to the Kessel Run. They're always talking about going around it, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
when they get to the Kessel Run, they see a lot of shipwreckages. Reason.
Well, I don't see why we're glorifying criminals.
We
I'm
see.
not done,
We're not talking
guys.
about criminals. We're talking
not
about
done.
scoundrels.
I'm not done.
Scoundrels.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there though.
So
I'm getting there though. I am
Yeah.
getting there, but I'm not done. You see a
Right.
lot of see a lot of ship debris, derelict ships, wreckages, right?
Right.
That's from the ones that attempted the Kessel Run straight through. Whereas most ships would go around it, which they have to get whatever it is that he's smuggling to whoever. I'm not going to put Paul Bettany. As much as I love the man, he was kind of dull, but
he had a contract with Disney, so
I know, but
Yeah.
he has to get there. He has to race against time, right? He's got to get there in whatever day is measured in space. But he says like there's a debate, between Daenerys and whomever is his crew, and Chewbacca, and Han says through it. They're looking like, what? We're gonna go through it. Nobody's ever made it through. Yeah, but you never had me as your pilot.
Kessel Run.
Basically what I'm doing is giving Han agency in his own freaking film. So he goes through it. The Kessel Run. We don't need no damn Star Destroyer chasing after him. He just going through it. And they experience all manner of horrors in the Kessel Run.
you mean
like
we don't need Han simping for Emily Clark's character? Like,
Yeah.
In reality, Han Solo isn't cool. He's a fool.
Right.
Like she's not encouraging him to go through it. He actually comes up with that conclusion. Like she's the one who's actually trying to play it safe because, duh, I want to live.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Of course, anyone would want to think like that because they want to live, and I don't, and I agree with that. I'm okay with that. You want to live. I want to live too. We can relate there. I want to live too. You want to live, but he, being the dude, we're gonna take the risk. Risk and
Oh, this is
reward, right?
sexist. This is sexist. I can't agree to this.
No,
Yeah, I can see. I can see the peak scouts walking away because they can't handle my toxic masculinity.
well, there's the
Well,
door. That's what doors are made
Yeah,
for.
No, my name is Kathleen. I call the shots here. I
I'll leave
take
that to
heavy
you to
direction.
say that, Leia. I'll leave that to
That's
you to
right.
say that.
I will
I
definitely say that because
I
here's
can't
the
heavy
thing.
direction this film.
Go
Here's the
ahead,
thing.
Leia.
Here's the thing, Wolf. I like your idea. Now, this is what I would do.
Mm.
I would not put Solo in the theaters. I would put Solo. Let's say I come to you and say, I want to start a streaming service, but I don't have content. Ah,
Hmm.
there is my content. Solo. Now, here's my argument. The Star Wars movies are not about Solo and his journey. But if I wanted to do content for my streaming channel, the Solo movie would either be that or I would extend that movie into a series, just as you described it, Commander. But I'm going to stretch
Hmm.
it out 6 to 9 episodes in the exact way you did. And then those 6 to 9 episodes ends, I can roll that into The Mandalorian.
Hmm.
That's what I would do.
And
And
not only that. Sorry, I just want to build up a little bit on that, Leia.
yeah,
Don't
yeah,
even
go
have
ahead.
the story be about Solo. Have it be a person who wants to hire Solo.
Kira as a
Ah,
special guest
yeah.
star Han Solo.
Basically, the person wants to hire Han Solo because they said, "I've heard that you're good," and he's like going, "Yeah, I am, and I'll prove it to you." And it's more so we're seeing Han Solo from the point of view of somebody else.
Well,
You know, one thing I
I
noticed
wanted the
about
scoundrel verse, which
these
we
new
didn't
Star
get.
Wars movies.
You should
So
also put in one thing, Wolf. I just was it. You can also, if we're stretching it to show, you can get in his dealings with Jabba the Hutt and how he got involved in all of that, and why now you see
Oh,
why maybe
oh,
Hutt
oh,
would
oh,
want
oh.
him a price on his head because we never get to told that. But if you did it like in a series,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
point of
Oh,
view,
yeah.
you see why.
Honestly, yeah. He's basically because
Yeah.
what was it? Didn't they say he what was it? He dumped his cargo at the first sight of an Imperial ship.
Yeah, yep, that was a pricely cargo for Hutt, and Hutt did not like that, and then he put a price on it, which is why when we meet him in the original film, sitting in that cantina, and
Mhm.
Greedo comes to him, it's because the price was on his head for dumping Jabba's shipment.
okay. Let me put a pin in that really quick. Okay, so now we're up to
Okay.
Solo. Okay, Last Jedi is a flop. Solo lost a lot of money, and now they've been throwing
Before you
franchise
continue,
fatigue out
Trooper,
for a while, huh?
I'm expressing this if I was running Disney though.
Yeah.
This is where I kick in where I would have gone with Disney Star Wars. Solo would have been made if the plan was to make Star Wars stories,
Mhm.
not a trilogy yet, because we've been so far away from the prequels, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
We don't really know what the fans will really want. Yeah, the fans will say more lightsabers, more laser blasts, more aerial dogfights. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we can have
Mhm.
that, but what do you guys really want out of Star Wars? Do you want story or do you want action? Do you want a Star Wars movie that's catering to action, or do you want a Star Wars movie that's catering to story? We all know what the answer is to that, of course. But
Mhm.
but how are we gonna tell it? Like you say you want laser blast. Okay, let Rogue One be about the laser blast without the lightsabers. All right, let's start with Rogue One, an anthology franchise. I'm talking about a Star Wars anthology franchise where it's not really uh jumping off into a whole entire universe or entire franchise that where a movie falls after the last movie. We have Rogue One, we have Solo. Now, again, this is where I'm going with. This is where we get into Star Wars stories. Start off with the Star Wars stories as a testing bed. What failed, what succeeded. Whichever one
Mhm.
succeeded, that's what we believe that the fans really want. Whatever failed, that is obviously what the fans didn't really want, or at least we pay attention to what the fans are saying that they didn't like about this movie. We also from the positives to the negatives as well, like a business should have done.
Well,
Yeah.
well, okay, okay. Now that we're at the top of the third hour, okay. So, like I said
Yeah.
before, Last Jedi's over. Solo is a flop. Uh, Now, mind you, they had already been pushing this franchise fatigue narrative for well into a year. So now you have these fans like just lambasting Lucasfilm all over YouTube, all over
Mhm.
social media, blah blah blah. And guess what the new buzzword is? The new buzzword is toxic fans. And now you have quote fandom menace. That's how all these dudes like out of nowhere started like making just ridiculous amounts of money on YouTube and freaking
Mhm.
social media by getting in front of a computer and saying how tacky like these films were. And you know,
And
for
Disney didn't help themselves by basically calling these guys out, calling them toxic fans, because then they went on there and said, "We're clearly getting to them."
well, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and it's just been ongoing since then. So I mean, this has been going on for well into what 4 years now.
Mhm.
So what like
It's like an unnecessary revenge on the nerds.
what has
Not a revenge
actually
of the nerds, or revenge on the nerds.
now what has actually happened to these franchises as far as have they made a 180? Are they now starting to do the fan service? No, actually they've doubled down because they know the formula is
No, no,
I
no.
can
I don't
put a
think they
name on
doubled
it.
down. It's quadrupled down.
Well, yeah, if you want to call it that. But you know, you put a name on it, you put a character in it, you call it this, it sounds like this, it plays like this, but it's not that. And they can easily walk away with a cool billion. Because and I'm gonna call them sheeple. Sheeple still love to pay for content, even if the content is subpar. They want content. So there
Or
is
designed to hate them.
well, I mean, either way, they're getting a reaction, right? So is
Mhm.
it better? Is it better to be overlooked or looked over? So what?
I like
So
that line. That's a beautiful line.
yeah. So either way, these companies are still raking in money because it gets them attention, it gets them advertised, and it gives them something to freaking argue about. It gets them in articles, and it gets these people doxxed
Let them fight.
yeah, as quote alt-right wingers, and how the alt-right infiltrated gaming and geek culture and all this hoo-ha. I mean,
How
case in
pop
point is
culture and geek culture was secretly racist, patriarchal, and sexist.
yeah. I mean,
Until
it
we
gives them
came
more
along.
cannon fodder for their narrative,
Uh-huh.
and at the very end of the day, the only one that looks like a victim is the franchise. So, I mean, the
Mhm.
best thing to do is just to walk away from these things and just be like, you know what? I got to go outside. I got a life to live. Or, hey, let me listen to Wolf on YouTube when he does his podcast. That'll kind of give me an idea of where we're at in pop culture. And then I have to deal with all the other, meandering, narratives and, all these other, geek articles and, on these .com sites that are going to toe the same line in terms of, toxic fandom and how we're injecting a Punjab character as a mutant. That whole thing. I
Mhm.
did look over that article, and it's definitely written from the point of a leftist. I don't know,
Yeah.
but what I'm getting at is it gives them more platform. It really does, in a way that's
There is some truth to what they're saying, but at the same time, they did use kind of like the same talking points that the leftists usually use,
yeah,
like
like who is
like
this written
voices.
for? I don't see myself in this. It's like, well, you shouldn't see yourself in this.
I was saying that I was like, you really shouldn't be seeing yourself, but like at the end of the day, like they are right. When you look at the some of the screenshots of the comic, like there's even there's even talk of the wage gap through
Yeah.
an Indian's eyes. I'm like,
Well, like
wage
my
gap
favorite,
in India?
well, like it's I think one of my favorite passages in the article to quote it quote I read her, I do not feel seen. I think, so that's how they see us then. And what follows is active embarrassment. This, or rather, that this is what we get, that we're supposed to cheer as white folks proclaim how important and good this is in terms of the content they're presenting, in terms of the Punjab character, if you will. But it's like
Mhm.
that's myopic in a way because it's leftists criticizing other leftists right now. It's
It's a start of them eating their own, as we like to
yeah, it
say.
really is. It really is.
Let's just
And
sit back, let the freaks eat each other up.
yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
at this point, I mean,
You know what? Now that we're bringing up that article, I might as well link that to the chat so that they can take a look at it.
yep, yep.
Trinary, as the mutant is called, trinary.
Can't be binary anymore. You got to be trinary. Like
And
get
she's tech support. I like the line of this that the person says. She's tech support, basically a stereotype to all Indians in Western culture.
be like
Basically, them being tech
get in,
support.
get in line, bigot. But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like this deracination of ethnicities, minorities, whatever you want to call yourself at this point, like trying to stratify everything to the point where no one has anything to share with each other. This is what you get because it's a very
Mhm.
myopic look. You tend to think, oh, all Asians are the same, all Hispanics are the same, all blacks are the same, all whites are the same. Well, no, but if this is what we're pushing, then you're really tearing at the ideology of what being an American means in terms of
Mhm.
a multi ethno state, if you will. Because I mean, what holds us together? If not skin
By the
color, it's
way,
gotta be ideology.
I just want to make sure. So I know Trooper, you read it. Leia, did you
Yeah.
read it?
What was the article again? It wasn't what you sent me earlier, was it?
No, this was
Okay.
Trinary, the ethics of representation.
No, I don't believe I have. I
I'll
don't believe.
reshare it in the private chat then,
Yeah, yeah.
for you can look at it later.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
You're gonna
How
look at
about
it
you,
later.
Spooner?
I was
No,
actually going.
I
Which
did not
says,
because I was having a bit of like I said, fatigue of all this. It's like I've heard all this before. I don't want to hear
yeah,
it
the woke
anymore.
fatigue. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But
that's
I
what
mean,
we're.
case in point, that's what this is. It's like it's
Before
now
you
it.
continue, Trooper, I
Uh-huh.
know Leia, you're signaling that you're about to leave, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna end this topic with we're not really franchise or basically entertainment fatigue. We're fatigued of y'all bullshit.
Pretty much,
That's what
yeah.
we're tired of. We're tired of your lecturing. We're tired
Oh
of your
goodness. Oh
ethnocentrism,
goodness.
your isms, your
Mhm.
phobias. We're sick and tired of your polite racism. We're sick and tired of your polite redressing of things, the tearing down of America. We're Americans, by the way. Did you know that we're Americans?
No, I forgot. I forgot because I've been busy in my.
All four of us and everybody else around us, that's how we perceive each other as Americans. This is America. Say hello to your fellow man. I'm about to sing, but I'm messing up the lyrics, so let me stop right there. But yeah, back to what I'm saying though. Back to what I'm saying is that's what we're fatigued of. We're fatigued of you thinking that you're trying to use these mediums to teach us. Like, bruh, you're a fucking teacher. Stay in school.
Yep.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. They don't
Excuse
want
me,
to
by the way.
entertain us. They want to edutain us. You could say, trying to teach us. Um, they feel that we don't know what it means to. We don't know how to live. So, you little fans out there, you need to be educated. Let Hollywood do it for you because you guys don't know how to handle it.
Right.
And
Well,
because we are the most qualified individuals on the planet, we have a right to stand up on our ivory little towers, look down upon you, and just tell you how you're supposed to live your lives and just get with the program. Otherwise, we're going to have to destroy you.
well,
Or
I
hear
mean,
how bad or hear how
when you
bad
look at
y'all day is going,
when
despite the fact that we here, regular Americans, are still worrying about when's our next paycheck is coming in. When are we gonna cover our bills, our rent? If we have kids, how we gonna feed our kids? We're gonna, all the homeless around our kids. Yeah, I've seen a lot of homeless in me and my walks. You, I can't even go 2 blocks without seeing some random dude sleeping where a restaurant is going to be opening soon, in the front entrance, mind you, too. I can't even go a few feet without looking to my right, and there's a homeless dude squatting down somewhere.
Hmm.
That's how bad my area has gotten
And
so far.
then you say, well, we got to find a way to help this. Oh, it's okay. The system and the government will help them. And then you're like going, well, maybe I should try to figure out how I should, improve my life. Don't worry about that. The government will take care of that.
Sam Proctor, definitely postmodernism fatigue. That's basically what we
Yes.
have.
Yes.
You know
They
what?
think
Yeah.
they think it's franchise fatigue. They think it's entertainment fatigue. They think it's all kind of fatigue, right? No, we're just tired of you hiring these talentless hacks,
Hucksters.
these these griefers,
Well, I
these
was
I like that. I like that.
with underwater basket weaving degrees. So
yeah, that too. That's
Yes.
underwater.
I like that.
Wow, Trooper, you come in hot with these new nicknames that you give them.
right.
And to show we really care for the little people, we're going to shut down our Golden Globe Awards so that we can focus.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes.
Here's
Yeah,
my
so
when
we
someone
can
says,
focus
"Oh,
on-
I'm trying to educate you," the easiest retort to that is your education is abuse. You're literally showing someone how to be abusive to someone else, and
Mhm.
and be given a pass for it.
I'll
It's,
show the true sacrifice. I have 17 cars, but I'm only going to drive one. I've made a
Right.
sacrifice.
Yes.
So again, while before Leia Plus I start heading out, and we're gonna be wrapping up now.
yeah,
I'm gonna say this. For the time that 2010 has started all the way up to now, at least, well, actually no, since around 2012 or at least 2016, if anything, I've come to that realization early on before we start really become prominent with it. I've noticed things have switched so far. The oppressed have become the oppressors. The abusive have be the abused have become the abusers. The the virtuous have become the what's the opposite of virtue?
uh, more or less, if they become the repressed, so
Yeah,
they're now being ostracized.
The ones
So,
championing justice have become the unjust.
yeah.
there we go. Thank you for getting me back on track, Schooner. That's what I've come to realize. And again, I'm not lying to you guys. I could have been one of these people. I could have listened. I could have been fed their BS. I could have been corrupted by it. And I didn't even go to a college. I didn't go to no college. All the Twitter things that they were saying, I'm like, I kind of agree. But then when I look back at it, I'm like, that don't even sound right. So now it's like at this point, if somebody really want, again, going back to what I said a few streams ago, somebody really want me to save the environment or work towards a quote unquote good cause, fuck you, pay me.
If
Mhm.
I
you're
rather
good at, I believe the Joker put it best. If you're good at something, never do it for free.
Yeah.
I'm saying if you pay me money, at least I'm getting paid for a good cause instead of taking blood money and not doing a damn thing
Don't give me the
whatsoever.
fish. Teach me to fish.
Exactly. So with that being said, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us. Just a quick reminder for everybody. This Thursday, what we're doing this Thursday is early birthday stream. That is not my birthday, by the way. My day is not on Thursday. My birthday is on Saturday. Just to reiterate that. That's what we're doing. I'm celebrating my birthday early simply because I work weekends. Chances are I might work that weekend. So this will be you guys just hanging with me, and again it's gonna be nothing really too serious, just fun talk. We talk about things and and we can also brainstorm future topics because I haven't had anything ready for next Thursday. But Trooper, what you said earlier, remind me, or whoever suggested that topic for me, I'm gonna put that for next Thursday stream.
Okay.
Coming up next Tuesday will be Fantasy Studio Office, which is we're gonna have fun on that one, playing like what we were doing the past streams, right? Playing like I'm the studio exec or the boss of the studio, right? Trooper was the treasurer. I'm gonna be making these things up as I go along. So don't get attached to whatever title I give you guys.
Okay.
Let you got warn you guys right now. Don't get attached to whatever title I give you. Don't get attached to it because I might change it up because my memory is off and I'm gonna be having too much fun to be remembering all this stuff anyways. Or at least with Trooper, he'll be financial management or something like that, and Leia will be woman's. No, I'm kidding, not woman studies. No, she'll be casting director. You know what I'm saying? Casting agent,
Yeah.
whatever, something like that. However, guys, those who are still in the chat, listen up now. That will be the jokey show. Next time when we do a fancy studio office though, I encourage you guys to message any one of us, Trooper, Leia, Schooner, me, on any social media that you follow me on or following us on, or at least like communicating to us on. Let us know because I would like, and by the way, make sure you have a mic too, because I would like to invite anybody as a guest to talk about any ideas or any projects that you're working on, be it a book, a comic book, a TV show, whatever. But you know, you want to pitch a story. I want you guys to feel this is a way for us to get you guys, you know, if you guys say we're going to a real interview to a real studio company or whatever, get you really comfortable being interviewed. So basically, what many of us hopefuls never knew about is the elevator pitch, which was a quick awakening there when I talked about bouncers, the furry robot jocks comic book that I'm writing, by the way, to Ishii, and Ishii brought that to my attention. Like, you gotta work on that. You gotta think of the elevator pitch. I was like, oh, okay, gotcha. Now I know what to do. So that's what we'll be doing. We'll invite anybody on, and we can do. I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna call it? I'm gonna call it elevator pitch, not studio. Fancy studio. It's gonna be called elevator pitch. So anybody who's down for that, contact me, or any of us. Contact us. You guys, if anybody contacts you about elevator pitch for that coming up, let me know. Let me know, and I'll try to contact them immediately and try to get them on board, and then we'll do the elevator pitch thing. As far as fancy studio office, that's fun. That's gonna be just fun. So we'll play we'll enact our fantasies of what we would do if we were interviewing somebody, a hopeful, be it somebody who actually has the right idea of what they want to pitch, and then we have the one that has no idea of what they want to pitch, or we have that one legend in their head thinking that they're gonna get their foot in the door and just bam, stuff like that. So we're gonna have fun with that. What's going on as well? Do I have anything else planned? Normally I would list off what everybody else is doing, but oh no, actually, you know what? After Tuesday after, so sick and tired of these sympathetic feelings. Give me something interesting, like a man who wants just nothing but money. Give me something interesting for evil's sakes. We're gonna be talking about villains, guys.
Yes.
Yay.
I know you guys have a lot to say.
Yes, good topic. Timely
We
time,
got
yes.
there's from Cruella to
What they've done to
to Na-
Loki.
yeah,
Yeah.
to Loki. Yeah,
Mhm.
Loki being the biggest offender that triggered me to talk about villains now. That quote unquote article about him being possessed by the spear.
Oh, yes, yes,
Oh,
yeah, yes.
So we're
It's
gonna be
all
talking about, yeah, we're gonna be talking about that. And on the same token, we're gonna be talking about our favorite types of villains and our favorite kind of villains, or the favorite villains that we like to see in our mediums, if you will. For me, I like the dark side types. I definitely like the dark side types. I don't know about you guys, but have those ready for the Tuesday after.
Okay.
Yeah, just have those ready for Tuesday after, because that's giving you guys enough time to prepare.
Mhm.
Um, so with that being said, again, like to thank everybody for showing up. This time we're going counterclockwise. That's not correct. Schooner, sign us out.
Coming at you live from a secret government facility buried deep underground, but has excellent Wi-Fi. This is Schooner Tuna signing off. Bloop, 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 bloop.
The lovely lady of valor.
Well, this is the lovely Lady of Valor bidding you farewell and have a good evening till we meet next time. I hope you have had as much fun as I did. This was a great topic, and if you did, please leave comments below. If we've missed something that you wanted us to mention, please leave it in the comments below. If you'd like to add something to discussions, leave that below. We always enjoy hearing from you, and I really hope to see you all again next time.
And the man, the myth, the FN, and the 2525 Trooper FN 2525. Sign us out, man.
Hey guys, it was fantastic. Go ahead and just drop in the comments any ideas that you have, or tell us what you think. Is franchise fatigue a real thing or not? Let us know. Go ahead and just like, share, subscribe. You can hit us up on MeWe. We're easy to find. Again, Trooper FN 2525 from Imperial Occupied Balmora saying next time.
Thank you, everybody. This has been your Wolf Commander Wolf 10. I am your werewolf, and welcome to the UN Space Sea Wolf